Reverb Experiment, episode number 6.
Six.
I ain't gonna do no long introduction. You already know who it is. G_focus on the mic. We got Steph.net in the building. We got Rajeo in the building.
Rajeo.
We got Photo B in the building.
What's poppin'?
We got a very jam-packed show for you today.
Ooh.
What we talking
It is
about?
National Girlfriend Day.
I ain't got one of those.
Oh.
A word.
Every
Every episode, you gotta just let us know that you can sing. We got it. Like
We got Moesha on Netflix.
Yes.
I ain't watching
Man.
it. I ain't watching it.
Hater.
Black Is King came out yesterday. So we got a lot of things we're going to talk about today.
Hakuna Matata.
Today we are going to make sure that we give you guys an update on Tory Lanez and the Meg the Stallion situation. We're
David
also
versus Goliath.
Here we go with the jokes. We are also going to share our thoughts on the Black Is King album by Beyonce. And we are also going to break down and give our thoughts on the Michelle Obama's first podcast and welcome her to the podcast world.
Lit.
Right. So before we get into all that, we want to make sure that we thank all the listeners that have been listening via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all streaming platforms. We also want to highlight any new reviews that we got. So we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Steph.
Yes. So first review from Musical Choice. This podcast is really good. I enjoyed the banter, the flow of conversation, the quality, sound, and overall professionalism. Dope podcast.
Yay.
Shout out to you for that because we definitely put in a lot of work. It's quality. Rotha Vandross, I'm weak off that name.
Shout out to Rocker Vandross.
Shout out.
Whoa, that's banter in itself.
Okay.
Yes.
Really enjoyed the conversation on the protest and chill. Great perspectives. Make sure y'all go check out that episode.
Yeah.
And then we got Durgo BJ.
Oh, hold on. Let me get him air horn.
Yay. Come on now.
Let's go.
Durgo BJ said, this is the start of something great. This is a show that has so much personality and good energy, coupled with great talking points. I was introduced to this show from G Focus. Shout out to G Focus.
Hey.
Shout out to getting the word out.
He said, we shared our shows with each other. Glad I was able to find a show that has a clear sense of purpose and great conversation. I'm very entertained by the show. You all have a new supporter and listener. Welcome to the Reverb Nation.
Hey.
Looking forward to listening and growing with the show. Keep up the dope work. Peace and blessings.
Hey, that's what we talking about.
Receive them blessings.
Yeah.
Man, we
Yes.
We working.
All that.
We
Yes.
working. We deserve
More life.
this.
More life.
Yes. So, hey, if you want to have your review read on the show, all you got to do is go to Apple Podcasts. Please follow us. You're going to leave a 5-star review, and then you're going to just leave your review and your comments, and we'll read it on the show. So we
Friend.
definitely appreciate
Shout out
that.
to friend of the show, young Coach D-Lo in the building.
The guy.
What it do, baby?
Hey,
We don't
episode
got a
last
camera.
week was lit.
Yeah, we don't
Not
got
last week, 2
We don't
weeks
got a
ago.
camera for that angle yet. We should work on that.
We should work on that, all right? So today we definitely want to make sure before we get into our topics, everybody's been talking about it. I know the NBA, they had their stance. All the sports had their stance. We also, you guys already know our stance from episode, I think, number 1, we talked about it. But we are definitely demanding all justice for anybody that has been murdered or killed or hurt on behalf of police brutality. We are definitely standing in and asking and demanding for the killers of Breonna Taylor to be arrested. So today we wanted to dedicate this show to our black queens, to our black women.
Let's go.
Right? So
Always.
So you start the month off right.
Shout out to Queen.
Right.
Shout out to Queens,
Shout out to
right?
Queens.
Steph.net.
Steph.net has been holding it
Exemplary.
down.
Look at that smile. Happy as hell. It's like, it's about me now.
She's your queen.
So to help us out with that, we actually have a special guest. We are going to conduct our first phone interview. Obviously, because of COVID-19, we want to make sure everybody stays safe. So we have Elika Bernard. She is a community organizer and advocate for black trans women. She has co-founded Black Women United, which hosted the Black Women's March and had speakers such as Senator Holly Mitchell, MC Light, Elaine Brown, and a host of other powerful black women. In 2019, she was hired as a regional organizing director for Senators Elizabeth Warren for president and is now working as a public information officer. So just because we got a caller, we're going to go ahead and give her a round of applause right now.
Shout out to her for real.
Shout out. That's a lengthy introduction, but it's all warranted, right? We got to put some respect on the name.
Put some respect
So
on
we're
it,
gonna go
man.
ahead and give her a call so we can get this interview started. And give me 1 second, because you know we got to make sure this technology work, right?
Come on.
Right.
We were supposed to do that in the warm up.
I think we did.
Huh?
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. So we've already introduced you just because we had to give some air horns, give you some respect on your name, but we wanted to make sure that we welcomed you with proper respect. So I know you haven't spoken to the rest of the crew. We've spoken. This is Elika Bernard.
Good morning.
You have Steph.net, you have
Hey.
Rajeo, and you have
Yo.
Photo B here
How's it
with
going?
you.
How's it going?
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good
Ooh, You
morning.
sound like you have good energy this morning. I love it.
I just had coffee, so you got a short window before this caffeine.
All right.
Yeah.
So with no further ado, so we've already said that we're dedicating this episode to Black women. So we definitely want to shout out to you.
Thank you.
And we want to just go ahead and dig on into it. You know, we're not gonna beat around the bush. We're gonna go ahead and get into the interview.
Yes.
So, first question that we have for you is, what do you love most about being a Black woman?
I think I love one, I love my skin. It's just it's so smooth and soft and luxurious, and in different times of the year it has different tints.
Oh,
And
word?
it's it's just luxurious. I love my skin. I love the fact that I come from such greatness. Like, I have the blood of Harriet Tubman
Ooh.
Come on.
literally
That's a
running through
bar.
my veins. And I love the creativity that I inherited from my ancestors, because it's just an unending source of dopeness that I have access to, that nobody else can be me except me. And that's what I love about being a Black woman.
That's
That was
fire.
beautiful.
That is amazing.
That was a
That's a
perfect
You
answer.
know how
That's
you
great.
can tell that it's genuine? Because it just flowed. It
It
just
just
made
flowed.
me feel.
Yes.
Right. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Makes sense.
Dope.
Yes.
That's a bar.
Okay. Next question that we have for you was, in your work with BWU,
Mhm.
what did you hope to accomplish while you were there, and why was it so important?
So when BWU started, it wasn't like we had planned for BWU to start. I don't think people realize that. We really just wanted to create space for Black women to be celebrated, because that didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you want to do something on that scale, because we had people who wanted to sponsor us, you have to have somewhere to put the money.
Right.
And they're not, these organizations aren't going to write personal checks. And so I didn't come into planning the Black Women's March for it to be this movement. I just came in wanting to serve and create space.
Mm-hmm.
So my intention was to just celebrate Black women, and for the voices of Black women to be centered in the Black liberation movement. So those were my intentions. What happened was something totally beyond like what I could have ever imagined. And that was me finding myself, me finding parts of my Blackness that I had disconnected with. Because of like Christianity and going to a private white, university and stuff like that. I found parts of myself, and I found parts of myself in my Blackness and my womanhood through my relationships with the Black women in Black Women United, and just developing sisterhood. And it wasn't easy all the time, but our intentions were to lift the voices of trans Black women, non-binary Black folks, queer Black women, and really just give a voice to, Black girls, and really bring our issues to the forefront, because it gets swept under the rug so easily in mainstream media and in our community.
Yes.
That's true. So, and you already know the answer. I already know the answer to this, but for the audience that's listening, why is it important to include everybody in that conversation, right? Not just, one demographic or what we are used to seeing as far as Black women, or as far as the typical Black woman that we see on TV. Why is it important for you to include every single aspect of life in the fight for equality when it comes to that?
Do you mean in the Black women's
In
movement?
Black women, excuse me. Yes, Black women's movement.
In our demographic, because even though we are all different, you know, there's Muslim Black women, there's disabled Black women, there are non-binary, there are Black women who are biological women but don't identify with womanhood, even though they are biological women, they don't identify with the gender, but they're still treated in society as Black women. And so we have to even include their narrative of who they are and how they identify, because although Black women are the most diverse, we're the most diverse demographic on the planet. There are hundreds of variations of Black women and Black womanhood. And so I think we wanted people to know, one, Black women aren't a monolith. We are extremely different, but we are treated the same by society. Even though Black women are the most educated demographic in the United States, we still make less than white men and white women and Black men. And that is, to me, is just so ridiculous. Absurd. And so we're more powerful when we come together in our demographic.
Yes.
We're more powerful in our diversity. And that's what I always tell people, like, even though we're different, I'm not a trans Black woman, but trans Black women are still treated worse than cis-het Black women. And so we can't throw away their story because we don't identify with how they identify in their gender or in their sexuality or anything like that. We can't be throwing Black women away if it doesn't meet this cookie cutter box. And I think for me, I have found home with trans Black women because I never really felt like I fit in. I never felt like I was like feminine enough to fit in with some Black women. Now I have Black women that are my friends, that are friends for life. I have 6 Black sisters, but I just this whole like Michelle Obama type Black woman. Like I never felt like I was gonna be a Michelle Obama. I felt more like what's her name? Wanda Sykes. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like I was more like a Wanda Sykes type. You know, although I looked up to Felicia Rashad when she was Claire Huxtable. Oh, I had a huge crush on her growing up. I just never saw that I could ever be like that, you know, feminine. That was just like, I always felt, you know, a little rough and tough on my side. And how my womanhood, because I wasn't light-skinned, because I wasn't skinny, you know what I'm saying? How my womanhood has been treated in my community is that there's a certain box that we have of Black women that we consider to be the epitome of femininity in our community. And for the rest of us that don't fit in that, we're treated less than. And so I feel at home with Black women who don't fit into that box and that privilege of looking and being and looking a certain way. Although those women, it's not their fault.
Right. Miss Elika, this is Rajeo. I have a question. It sounds to me, what I really like is that inside of your work, you've created a safe space for people to express who they are, and then for the inward portion, and outwardly find a place for them to where they fit in, and then advocate for equality based on you know what I mean? So I do understand what you're saying, growing up and not feeling the same. And so in your work, is it more gratifying to create a safe space where everyone can be themselves? Or is it more gratifying that once they find themselves, to find a place out in the world where they fit in and they can be successful?
I would say both. I would say I think the biggest joy and success for me was seeing Black women organize for other Black women. And we don't do that. Like, you think about other racial groups, they have lobbyists, they have everything. They have people who advocate for them, but Black women don't typically organize stuff surrounding just for Black women in our community. Usually it's to benefit the community. But when it comes to Black women, seeing other Black women say, I learned this in BWU and now I'm going to go do this for other Black women. Like, that's how we take care of each other. And I think that for me, because we did a spa day last year, because one thing I realized as a community organizer is that Black women are holding up our community in ways that are unseen. Unseen. The labor, oh my God, the emotional, intellectual, and physical labor that Black women take on, and those Black women, no one is taking care of those Black women. No one in our community, in our society, is taking care of those Black women. And so we did a spa day where I wanted to take care of the organizers of the Black community. And I washed 50 feet that day. And we had hand washing, and they had full body massage, facials. We had it catered. It was beautiful. And what came out of that was Black women nurturing and caring physically for each other in ways that we have been denied.
Right.
And seeing other Black women go and replicate that and do that for other Black women to each other. There were some Black women who were crying when they were getting their feet washed. They said nobody hasn't touched their feet in 20 years.
Wow.
And to be able to wash a Black woman's, to wash a Black woman's feet was just, that in itself is like holy for me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We've been having lots of conversations about the role of women. Like our last episode was, the protection of Black women and the lack thereof of protection of Black women, and kind of how we were talking about how it was kind of imparted unto you guys to be the backbone, just because of the way of the way things were, systemic racism, the lack of fathers, things prior. So it sounds to me that you have a good concept or a good grasp of things that we've been passed down through our lineage. And I think it's super important that we figure out a way to support our strong friends, which in this instance would be, the Black women. I agree with you 100% that you guys are the backbone.
Man.
Steph, go ahead. I know you got to say something.
No,
Steph.
I'm just that's beautiful. I mean, as far as taking care of the organizers, I think we talked about that during the Protest and Chill episode of, the sacrifice that is made to be a community organizer, and to see that care or actual event or avenue for the organizers. I mean, I hadn't even thought of something like that. So to see somebody do it, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And just even to think, when you say that's holy to you, I mean, obviously everybody has different views on their religion. And I know me and you kind of talked off camera or off interview where you said that you were born Christian or you were raised Christian. And I think just the principle of you washing somebody else's feet ties in with Jesus washing the disciples' feet, and basically told them that as I'm washing your feet so that way you would go wash other people's feet, or basically meaning I'm serving you so that way you can go serve others. And I think that principle ties in with what you're saying, is that because I'm serving you so that way then you can then learn that principle and then go out and then serve other Black women, because we all need to be nourished, or they all need to be nourished and be taken care of. So I think that is a beautiful principle that we can all apply in all aspects of our lives. And
I feel like I feel like that's kind of a principle, but I almost feel like it's the reverse order. I feel like that these women and these community leaders have been serving so much that I feel like it's about time somebody takes.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we talked about the podcast prior, I feel like as a Black man, I feel like we're lacking in that department for the women
in the serving department.
In the serving department.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So I feel like somebody like Miss Elika that takes the forefront. The example is for myself, right? And then other men like us who care about figuring out, how do we become better men, and how do we and more or less alleviate them of some of the pressure that they have to take on, or the weight that they have to carry with the kids and the sports and the drugs and the violence, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or just do our part.
Right. Well, something.
Yeah.
Something's got to change, bro.
Yeah. So,
and sometimes it's so easy, just ask. Like, sis, what do you need? And you know what? That might be a hard question for a Black woman to answer, because we don't get asked that often. But when she tells you what she needs, know that it took a lot of vulnerability for her to say that. And when she tells you, I don't care if she said one thing that's her oil needs to be changed in her car, you better do it, because she gonna remember.
These are facts.
Yeah, man. Ooh,
there's a saying that you can do it right 5 times and you mess up once.
Yeah.
You better change that oil, son.
We have standards too.
Yeah, no, that's true. So with that conversation, with the, I guess, the relationship between black men and black women, what role does the media play in the portrayal of the relations between black men and black women?
That's a bar question.
What role does the media play?
Yes.
I think the media has painted black women and black men as adversarial.
Agreed.
But I grew up like watching Family Matters. You know, I watched Fresh Prince. I watched the Cosbys. And so I didn't really see that in the media. You know what I'm saying? Growing up like that.
Sure.
I do see how black men are portrayed as individuals and how black women are portrayed as individuals in the black family structure. That's just like from what I've seen and how black women and black men are demonized in the media. And yesterday, after watching Black Is King, I realized that the whole movie was positive images of our blackness.
Yes.
And how psychologically damaging white American media has been on the psyches of black people and the people who watch it. Because what I've noticed, the people who watch and believe white American media about black people are in turn very anti-black and hella racist. And now we have to deal with like people of color who internalize the racism that they see on television, because our history is not taught in the books. And so they're taking what white people are telling them about black people and standing on our shoulders and treating us like shit.
Right.
And so it plays out like white media is so demonic to me. Like it is the devil. And how we're not in charge of telling our stories and how we have to fight for our stories to even be told. Because the black family and the black relationship between black women, queer people, and I'm not just talking about black men, because I'm talking about black people in relationships in general.
Right.
It's just the complexities of it are not like, it's not given space. And so we really don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely identify with what you're saying as far as growing up. We did have shows like Family Matters, Cosby's, Martin, Different World,
Fresh
Living
Prince.
and Single,
Right, all types of,
Living Single. Were you able to see that? But there was also this split where you had those, but then you also had music. And in the early 90s, it was more of a conscious vibe, right? You had the Ice Cubes, you had the NWA. Obviously, they had controversial messages both back and forth. And then there was a shift where kind of the gangster rap kind of started taking over, and then it started to become more misogynistic, more, hatred towards the black women. So where you would go on TV and you would see the relationship between a Laura and a Steve Urkel, or you would see the relationship between a Martin and Gina, but then in your music you would hear songs like Ain't No Fun, or you would hear songs like you know what I mean. So and then even today, like, we're excited because you got black shows that are showing up on Netflix. You got, different, and we're like, oh man, we finally got a black show. So it's like we went from a place where we had like 5 to 10 different shows that you can see different shows, but now we're like, we have Blackish, Grownish,
Insecure,
Black as Fuck, and
mixed-ish.
Every you gotta be an ish or black in the title.
Can't be all the way. Gotta be kind of.
If you look at our community and you look at the music is reflective of what was going on in the community.
Yes.
And so when, we had all of these things that happened to our community that pushed us back, redlining, Jim Crow era, crack epidemic, all of those things that we never recovered from, but you would see like the pain reflected in the music.
Right.
And I think one thing I really saw, especially with rap music, is how capitalism infiltrated conscious rap. And how I saw, and this is just totally honest, every white woman that became a rapper or that did some problematic anti-black shit was given permission by a black man.
That's true.
When Miley Cyrus came on with her grill, she was given permission by a black man. When Fergie did it with them greasy ass cornrows that she had that one time, a black man gave her what's the one that stole the Brat's voice?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Iggy.
Is it
Iggy?
I thought so.
And she was co-signed by T.I. So
T.I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we have the erasure of black women in music. And we have the abuse and all that stuff like that. I just like, where did all of this come from?
Right.
Because not saying that it was even any better in the 90s. I think it's always been like this. And I'm reading this book, and I think everybody should read this book. It's called Wounds of the Spirit. And it's about intimate violence, sexual violence towards black women. And it's a very healing book. And the book starts out with the author saying, in order for us to understand this abuse in our community, we have to listen to the stories. And she goes all the way back to slavery.
That's a point.
She went all the way back to slavery and reading the stories. And it wasn't traumatic for me. It was actually very healing for me, because a lot of the things that were happening to those to the slave women by black men are still happening today. And she wrote one of the stories told, she said, when racism is discussed in this country, it's discussed in the terms of black males. Being a black woman is difficult in the United States, to say the least. There's the dictum, I would say, in the black community that men come first, the black men come first. The black men are the ones that are oppressed, and the rest of us need to support them in surviving racism, like we don't have to survive racism. And we are somehow privileged in this country that we get all the good jobs. We get to go to college. We have it just fine here. And the poor black men are the ones that we need to somehow reach out to and help. And I don't know, sacrifice our lives for. That has always just struck me as being ridiculous. Anytime at all when racism is discussed in this country, it's discussed in the terms of black males. Everyone else is kind of fodder in their tribulations. That what I think it means to be a black woman. It's just like this kind of loss, a sense of self. You're kind of just a castaway. This was written in the 40s. She wrote that in the 40s.
Yo, you know what's crazy? What's crazy is I just been listening for like the last 5 minutes and gathering my thoughts. But the relationship, I hate that as black people we start our history at slavery. It's such a discredit to who we were before slavery, right? Because our history doesn't start at slavery. Our U.S. history starts at slavery. And at that point, then we can get into, I feel like, conditioning of relationships between black men and black women. And I think it's essential to understand the process in which we were positioned, and the process in which slavery did position us. I don't agree that black men should be the primary victims of slavery, but the befallment and the victimization of black men did force black women to have to live in positions and uphold situations that they weren't ever supposed to have to encumber by themselves. So when you look at the whole history and the totality of what we're talking about, then you have, like we said, the music industry, and we have the media. The music was what it was, but white people paid black people more money to be destructive against our culture, to talk about the misogynistic behaviors, to talk about pimping and pandering, to talk about drugs. So a lot of the things that these people were talking about, yes, hip hop was supposed to be about the community, right? But if somebody's giving you $1 million to make up stories about your life and to live lies about someone else's lives, or to take excerpts from other people's lives, create an album, I give you $1 million and I let you tour, people are gonna do what they need to do to get out of the hood and to live better lives. I think because the way that we were situated outside of slavery, not having jobs, not having our money, not getting our reparations, it forced black people to make decisions that were contrary to the community for personal gain.
Right, and I think that's
You know
what she was saying with how capitalism
Exactly.
infiltrated our communities and the music and the media, and then on top of that, the white media is the devil. That's
exactly why I agree.
It's our culture, but honestly it's really
sale,
white
though.
media.
It's for sale.
Well,
as long as our culture is for sale, you can never right the ship of the relationship between a black man and a black woman. Because how do you decondition the next generation from our bad habits if all they hear is bad habits of misogyny? How do you decondition them?
By having shows like this.
That's a bar. But how do you know what I'm saying? So
I don't ever blame black people for how we've had to survive white supremacy.
Right. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But at some point, they're not going to keep selling if we don't keep buying.
Facts.
And
That's a bar.
black men, I know it's hard, but
That's
if
a bar.
I can do it,
that's great.
No, it's not hard. It's not hard.
No, I said it's a bar. It's a bar. I was agreeing with you. Yeah, I said
it's
that's a bar.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's like, black men tend, because of the patriarchy, black men tend to be the gatekeepers of culture.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I see our culture get sold out all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
And that's why we see so much blackfishing with the Kardashians and how they want to be black women.
Say that.
And it terrifies me that those white women are raising black girls.
Come on, man. When you come out with box braids.
Well,
come on.
You know what's crazy is that I wrote that I said culture vultures would not be available or would not be able to be here if there was not a willing participant.
Bro.
So
willing participant.
And the context that I wrote that in is when Dame Dash was on his, Everybody's a Culture Vulture tour, and when he said, "Oh, this guy that owns Def Jam, he's a culture vulture. Lior, he's a culture vulture. He's a culture vulture." And then I was like, "Bro, but you were doing business with him.
You were taking all the checks.
So when you were making money,
right,
it was
okay.
fine. Right. But now that you're on the downcline,
now
you're a culture vulture.
Right.
You know who did the same thing? Kurt Franklin did the same thing to. Was it the Dove Awards or whatever?
Oh yeah. When he refused to do the Dove Awards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was like, they snubbed me, they're racist. Well, you were fine with it when other black women were getting snubbed, but you were getting your coins, sir.
Yeah.
So don't act like it's a problem now.
You know why I like that? Because there's no discrimination in that.
No.
There's no discrimination in that context, right?
No.
Because Kurt Franklin is supposed to be on our side, right? But you have to take the whole side, and that's why we have to have these conversations. Because I guarantee you, Kurt Franklin never thought about that in that perspective.
But that's where capitalism.
No.
But
that's where capitalism comes in. It's when I'm capitalizing off of it, then I'm silent.
Like she said, for Miley Cyrus, there was a Mike Will Made It. For Kim Kardashian or for Khloe Kardashian, there's a Thompson or a Reggie Bush or a Ray J or a Kanye, right? And so every time we lose something, it's because we always lose the rights to our creativity, and there's nothing more important than our intellectual property, right? And we put that up for sale.
We sell it,
right? We put that up for sale, and not only do we put it up for sale, but we don't protect the masters of it once we sell it. So not only have they conditioned us from slavery. From master-slave relationship in slavery, but they even call it master slaves in music.
Right.
The lighting system, I'm an electrical engineering. It's still called master and slaves. Mm-hmm. The condition of master and slave, one leads another. It's still implemented into the society.
Well, and what's crazy about it is the people that do the opposite, that do for self, like I just use an example, like a Nipsey Hussle. Then the system is set up so that way I'm not saying I'm sorry, as a community, we then resent him to the fact where he got killed in his own neighborhood,
right,
where he was trying to help the whole community get more, inclusion and get more money and set people up so that way they can be more self-sufficient. And then he was murdered. So it was like, even when you do make it out, and even when you do own your own masters, and even when you do set up for people to succeed, we hate ourselves so much that then we resent him instead of looking at, so why don't we hate the Leors? Why don't we hate the the people that are at the top of these record labels as much as we hate the Nipsey Hussles and all the other people that are doing it for themselves?
Can we break down that weed, though? Can we break down that weed?
Yeah, go for it.
Because Black women aren't out murdering each other. So I wouldn't say that we hate each other. I would say, and I was watching the Django this morning because I had, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a stress relief for me. And y'all know what scene I'm talking about.
Last scene,
like 4 times.
The past time, it makes me feel good.
I was watching, the Django this morning. Is one of my spiritual rituals, and there was this scene in the movie where these two Black men were fighting, and they were like sparring, and they were like, one had to kill the other, and the way that the white people were surrounding them, egging, this fight, it was like some high class society type stuff. And I was like, they used to make Black men fight each other.
Yeah.
It's engraved.
And looking at, I have a son. I cannot imagine my son shooting another Black man. I cannot even imagine. But then I look at how toxic our men in our community are taught to disconnect from nurturing each other. Like there is no empathy at the point. If you shooting another Black man, you don't have no empathy for him because you've been taught not to have no empathy for him. You taught it's been wrong to hug, to cry, to hold each other accountable. All that stuff is seen as gay when no, that's how you build relationships. Facts. And all of the things. And now, mind you, Black women, we are hard on each other. We still criticize each other, and that's because society doesn't give a shit about us. But when I see Black men kill another Black man, it tells me that he has been taught to disconnect with the feminine side of him that teaches him how to nurture himself so that he can have the compassion for his brother. Like, I can't imagine my son not hugging on his little friend. They'd be wrestling. He used to hold hands with his little friend when he was little. My son is not gay, but he used to hold and if he was, okay, he would hold his friend's hand and they would walk.
I think that what you're saying right now is piggybacking on to what I talked about a little bit earlier. It's how we're conditioned. Like you said, when you had the Mandingos fighting one another, right? It wasn't just a fight. It was the separation from the house nigger and the field nigger, right? Yeah. And so it's a conscious effort to construct division within a divide already. We're already segregated and we already can't come in. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make you a high class personnel of a low class situation. Right? And we're gonna let you look down on the low class person in that low class situation. And systemically, when you free us, when we're freed, we're taught that's engraved into us. That's embedded into us. The women don't kill each other and murder each other because you guys have always been in the protective, nurturing, trying to defuse the situation mode. So that's what it is right now, right? I said something that was key last episode. How do we go from mothers being nurturing, being protecting, being the provider, being the provision, because the Black men are still in this condition where they hate each other through gang violence, right? And they hate each other through, we're living through the process of fighting the police. How do we, as Black men, what would it take for us to be able to hit that psychological switch from being a child to being a man, right? Because what you're asking us to do is you're asking us to abandon everything that we've been taught as children. And as an adult, in a relationship mostly, right? You want us to be a man that protects, that provides, that nurtures, that hugs, that loves, that gives you a place of safety, right? How do we implement that now into our children, right? And this way the system is set up, we're still losing by police brutality. And we're still losing to gang violence and gun violence in Sacramento, right? So at what point do we start doing that work? And my question is really from you to you, what does it take from your perspective to implement that change? Because it's really it's a generational thing, right? So we're not talking about on a personal basis. If we're just talking in general, which we've been, right, then we need to figure out how do we change the narrative, and how do we psychologically decondition what black men are and recondition black men to be partners with themselves and black women? Right?
I would say first is don't separate your child from the adult, meaning your inner child is just because you grow up into become a man, your inner child doesn't go anywhere. And I don't know very many black men. I mean, a lot of my close black friend men are all in therapy, and I know therapy is like a token word right now. But black men cannot be fathers because their inner child and their child, when they were children, they weren't fathered. And so you have to, just like I have to do this for myself, you have to reparent yourself. You have to reparent yourself. You have to rewire your brain. You have to do a lot of psychological work. Black men do not take care of themselves. They may look fly and shit. They don't, but sometimes black men, y'all don't go to the doctors. Y'all don't do spiritual maintenance.
That's facts.
I mean, you're carrying around grief. You're carrying around just loads of anger and understanding that does not make you less of a man if you find a way to nurture yourself. That is not gay. That is love. Yes. And finally, doing the work of telling what slavery did to the psyche of black men. Because a lot of the shit that happened during slavery, a lot of the ways that it made black men feel, they still feel today. And black men don't have the freedom to spread their wings in society. They can't go they can't go in society and in these white places. So who do they turn that on? Black women. They can't be kings in society. That's why you think most pulpits are built like a throne. And the pastor, he can't do that in society, but he can reign over black women. And this need to dominate because black men were dominated. And so they dominate over black women because they have more power than us. And so really unpack your shit.
Yeah. I think, BJ wanted to say something earlier. I want to know, Ray, on who on this call is in therapy?
I went to therapy.
You
went like a one time?
I went for a while because I was a little bit destructive. And
that's good.
Yeah, no. I had to go to therapy, man. I was divorced, and I think, like you said, you have to unpack your shit. But first off, you got to be aware that you're dealing with some shit, and second of all, you have to want to be better, right? So if you're not around, for me, I'm around a bunch of incredible men that I look up to. So I didn't want to be the broken wheel. You know what I mean? I didn't want to keep being destructive and keep repeating actions that were hurting the people around me. So I took the responsibility of going for myself.
So center self. Look, everybody quiet.
Yeah. No, I was letting it finish.
No, I was waiting to see. You the only one. What about you?
No, I've been to therapy. It's been, and obviously you guys know my spiritual background. I think that you also have to, definitely make sure that you are re-examining yourself. Not even. Honestly, really on an everyday basis to make sure that your spiritual man is being fed as well. So, I think the whole point that we're saying here is that we have to examine where we are at and make sure that we're going through any traumas, any unresolved issues that we have from childhood. I think we talked about that on our trauma episode, is that any unresolved issues in childhood are going to show themselves in your when you grow up and when you get to like your adulthood. And it's not like you can just brush it underneath the rug. It's going to come out in some shape, form, or fashion. And it's always going to come out of somebody that's in close proximity to you. So for black men, obviously black women are the closest into proximity to us. So that's usually how it ends up playing out, is that our traumas end up playing. I mean, and it does happen vice versa, but obviously we're centering on what black women need. Right. So I think we need to realize that, I think we getting to the point where we ask black women so much like, hey, how can we be better? How can we do this? How can we do that? When it really is, No, we need to start looking at ourselves and saying
Facts.
and redefining what masculinity is.
Facts.
Because like we have so many conversations saying, oh, well, we're not in our society that we're getting pressed down and we can't be masculine. It's like, no. We can be masculine. It just needs to be redefined. So masculinity doesn't always have to be in I'm aggressive or I'm competitive. It can be I'm nurturing. That's masculine. It can be masculine because as a father, you have to be, right? And then I think we've just been raised to survive. And it's always been a competition where we're lied to by saying there's only one pie. And if you don't get a piece of that pie, then you're not going to eat. And it's like, no, I can go create my own pie. I don't need to be a part of what society tells me that is the pie. I can go make my own pie so that way I'm not fighting against my brother or I'm not fighting against my sister. I can bring my brother and my sister and say, look, let's go create our own pie. Because if not, I'm going to look at you like you're the enemy. Because if I see you doing better than me, then instead of, hey, how did you get that? Hey, can you help me get to where you're at? It's, oh, how did he get that?
Or why does he deserve that?
Or why does he deserve that? I don't think he deserves it, and I'm going to go
Do
get
y'all
it.
really be feeling like that's worth it?
No, look,
Generally speaking, yeah.
I think that growing up, so you gotta remember we're talking about conditioning, and conditioning is a long-term process, right? So when we're already conditioned to be against each other, that's how we feel. I don't feel like in relationships that most black men are trying to dominate their woman. I think we have is like you said, it's a bunch of compressed toxicity. It's a bunch of compressed trauma.
I would say trauma, yeah.
And with our with us not feeling like we can communicate, or us not knowing how to communicate, or us growing up in homes with black women who were the protector and the disciplinary, I think that we as black men, because we don't have fathers or we don't have role models, we don't ever have the space to generally talk about how we feel. So we never really learn how to communicate with our wife. We never learn how to communicate with our sister, with the women around us, because what mom says goes. Right? And that's why I talk about the transition from childhood to manhood, because if I learn that my mom is the head of my house as a boy, right, and I don't have anything to say when she says anything, and I'm not allowed to tell how I feel, because what she says goes, and whatever happens in this house stays in this house, right? As a man, when I grow up and I see some of the same traits from my significant other or my spouse, right, I haven't developed the skills to communicate how I feel, because it's always been overlooked for me in my life. Right. So now when you need me to be a man and you need me to be sensitive and you want to have a real conversation with me that hurts my feelings, I don't have to accept it from you and my anger lashes out because I've accepted it from women my entire childhood. Yeah. That's why you need men in the households, and that's why we need to see relationships, and that's why we have to have these conversations, because I can't address black women's needs if I don't know what I need, right? And black women can't understand why I'm this way if they don't understand what I've gone through, and vice versa. So these conversations have to be open book forum.
Yes.
You can't just say, I know what black women needs conversation, but what black women can't get what they need from black men until, like you said, until we go do the work on black men.
Yes.
And there has to be a black woman that understands that this process, and it sucks, and you guys shouldn't have to wait for it, and you shouldn't have to go through hell and back to get a good man. But the process of what we've gone through collectively as black people puts us in an awkward situation to where we don't have the benefits or the assets of good lineage or heritage. We've always been put against each other. And so that's just how I feel about. I don't feel like it's trying to be demanding. I feel like it's childish because we haven't been able to express that, right? So I think that the understanding between the two has to be, man, I got a lot of stuff to say.
I got a question about, you said, I want to just make sure that I understood what you said. Okay. You said that black men, I think what you meant, black men do not intentionally dominate.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that there's not broken male egos and they dominate their women because they can. But what I'm saying.
So now so I want to just stop you right there, because what you're unintentionally doing is telling me my experience. I'm on the receiving end of the dominance, so you can't say whether it exists or not.
No,
That's
I'm not
like
saying.
with white people. I'm just telling you because words matter.
Okay.
So when a Black woman says that Black men dominate in our community, that's not up for debate. That is a fact. Black women have the highest murder rate in the country. And also I want to point out that Black men are not inherently more violent than white men. Hell no, white men are a million times more violent than Black men.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
It is because of Black men's, and I'm going to explain what proximity means. It's your proximity to us because we are Black women. It doesn't matter who we would be in proximity to. The outcome would be the same because of how society treats Black women.
Agreed.
And so I really want people to know when I talk about our murder rate, it is not because Black men are inherently more violent.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's because we are Black women.
And you guys are in the path of violence.
And we're at the intersection of two of the things that this world hates most.
Race and
that
gender.
is women and Black people.
That's bars.
And we
Race
happen
and
to be at
gender.
the
That's
intersection of those
That's
two
bars.
things.
That's true.
Yeah, but I wasn't by no means saying that you don't feel dominated or you are or I was just going back through the psychological journey of how broken men are and how we get to the point of dominance.
I appreciate that honesty though.
Yeah,
I appreciate that because after going to therapy, how long I've been going to therapy, my words were so trapped in my chest. And no wonder I was lashing out, cussing people out. You know what I'm saying? Going the fuck off.
No, it makes a hell of a difference to be able, like I said, these conversations can't happen from people who haven't done the work because these turn into arguments, right? And
Right.
these turn
Like
into
me trying to have an emotional, intellectual conversation with a Black man sometimes does not happen because that work to get those words up, to put words to your feelings, y'all have not been allowed to do that, and we need y'all to do that.
Right. Right, and that's something
we're
that we
trying,
can only.
Man. We're trying to get the word out.
But
It's your inner child. You got to talk to your inner child. It starts with your inner child. Like I was silent so much as a kid. Like I had so much trauma that I wasn't allowed to process. And I want people to understand the thing about trauma. It's not necessarily the event itself. It's how you're allowed to process it. And so when we have traumatic stuff that happens to us, we don't get to process that shit.
No,
our family sweeps it under the rug, or we have to pretend, or we have to hide, and then that comes all that shame and guilt and anger, and here we are today.
See, and that's the other side of the story, right? Because you've been in your life, you've been oppressed from being able to talk about your feelings, right? And I don't know what it is with this, man. Like
we don't have enough safe space.
Yeah, we don't
have enough safe space amongst ourselves or anybody else.
I have friends right now. One of my friends, she has what she calls is a red talk, right? Where if the kids come to me like I need to have this kind of talk, then all she does is listen, right? But that is a conscious decision to allow the children to have a space to unpack what they're feeling, right? I never had that.
Never.
So Miss Elika, when you say you never had that, I understand, right? So as children, like you said with the inner child, right? As children, there's a point where we all want each other to grow up like overnight, right? But if you're not going to do the therapy and you're not doing the work and you don't unpack that stuff that's in you, these conversations and these forums, these podcasts, they don't happen.
Right.
Because then we feel like everybody else is wrong instead of working on ourselves.
And just think about the shallowness of the Breakfast Club. Like, when I wish I could it's shallow intellect. And it really doesn't get down to the nitty gritty bit of things because you can tell the people who come on the show and the people who are asking the questions haven't really done the emotional labor of like journalism. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding what something is. And it's
good. No, you're good. Keep going.
And so I get bored. Like it's entertaining, but I get bored because I'm like, why didn't he like ask that? I can see the next question that I would ask.
Yeah.
Like, but you know what I'm saying? Digging deep into stuff. I get tired of sensational journalism because it's so I don't get tired of Black people who have these platforms and they don't go deep.
Okay.
Like we're still swimming on the surface of shit when a lot of us are rarely ready to dig in.
They're afraid to be canceled. I mean, when you
No,
yeah, hell yeah,
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that
are.
at all. Like a conversation like this, why would somebody get canceled?
No, I'm saying the Breakfast Club.
No,
and
they
so on and
can't
so
do
forth.
it.
No, they.
No.
Oh, you think they're
No, it's
incapable
not in their
overall?
vocabulary.
Yeah, it's not.
They
It's
don't
not in
even
their
have
phone.
Right. They're
Yeah.
not there yet.
Charlamagne's my guy, and I'm sad at him right now.
Right. I know BJ wanted to chime in, so I'm gonna let you. You want to chime?
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, what I was going to say was like when it comes to having black men speaking as in how they feel and anything like that, is because they don't have enough safe space. They don't have. There's nobody they feel comfortable enough to get to that point and talk about their feelings, what's bothering them, what they're thinking, and stuff like that. Once we are allowed that safe space, that comfortability with somebody, to where we know that what we tell you isn't going to be setting like be used against us in any type of way, we'll eventually we'll get to that point.
Hey, what did you call and ask me last week or 2 weeks ago?
I asked you, do you feel like as a black man that you're able to talk and vent to your woman?
That's what he called and asked me, bro.
Well,
Be
I think that's true, but I also think that, and this is just my opinion. I think masculinity can only bestow masculinity. So I think in some of those instances, as men,
Oh Lord.
Look, that's what I'm saying. We don't have the men.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think in some of those conversations, I would love to vent to my woman about certain things. There's some things that I should not vent to her about because I need to talk to a brother about. And, it happens at barbershops all the time. We go to the barbershop and you end up having a full therapy session while you're getting your hair cut, right? Because you don't have a man that's in proximity that you can talk to, that you feel like can understand you, because you feel like in those places, there's no judgment. Because I know whatever I say in the barbershop stays in the barbershop, right?
No,
It don't, but that's how we feel. That's how we feel. But
she ain't
what we tell
lying.
us.
That's how we feel.
Heard a lot of stuff
y'all
about.
be gossiping.
Oh yeah,
They do.
and we do. But what my point is that we should have a safe place for us, for men, to be able to say, hey, as a healthy black man, and you're in a healthy marriage, or you're in a healthy relationship, or you're a healthy parent, how are you doing it? Can you give me some pointers? Can you walk with me? Can you mentor me? Right? But we are so bred to compete that we feel like I can't ask this question because I'm going to be looked down as either, how come you didn't know that? Nobody taught you this?
That really sucks.
Well, but
it is.
well,
It's the
That's
truth, though.
lonely.
It's
but
the truth.
but think about it.
Lonely?
But think about it though.
Yes,
from
I'm lonely every day.
from the very beginning, right? We are taught to do what? Probably play sports, right? When
Or
you play
rap.
sports,
Or
right?
play-
In most of the sports, it is, oh, how many points did you score? Or, hey, did you beat your defender? Or did you make varsity? Did you make JV? Did you do this? You are always in consistent competition,
work
even in
is hard.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your work
even in school. Hey, did you get a B? Did you get an A? Oh, yeah, I got a B. Oh, well, who got a better grade than you? We're always asked those questions, so it's always bred into us to be an individual instead of looking at it as a community. As in, hey, did the class do good? Did you and your friend do good? Did you and your friend make the team? How did the team go? No, it's always the first question is, how did you do?
Yep.
Not only that, but I want to go back to I want to go back to Django real quick when it came down to the Mandingo fighting, right? Society, or should I say, just the upper class, pit us against each other.
Yes.
Put them two
I was just
together
about to say
and
that.
fight each other.
Yes.
Making them
Yep.
think that they're their own enemies when in
Yes.
fact they're not. Right. So now
Yep.
you got that whole mentality of
he's here.
I got to be the best.
Yep.
I got to be number one because nobody's gonna allow me to be number one except for me.
And it's
Facts.
like
I gotta be
that.
the top.
saying, like, imagine if all the gang members decided to stop scrapping and we came against white folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, put that energy into Roseville,
And
into
protecting
Rockland.
the community.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be so different. But black people were taught to betray each other
Facts
from
on
the
facts.
get because it was profitable. It was profitable for black people to betray each other because they needed black people to be submissive. We could not be united and white supremacy
Nope.
exists.
It serves
But
capitalism.
I want to ask my sis on the line, in talking about safe black spaces, I can't imagine not having my homegirls
Yes.
to go through.
Oh,
Black
yeah.
women have historically healed each other.
Tribal.
Yes.
Tribal,
And
yes.
it's very tribal. And
Mhm.
so, sis, I want to hear from you, like, on your experience with healing and kind of like, do you think that's a possibility for black men to have that? But I want to center your experience first.
I think it's possible, but again, I feel like it's on Black men have to want to. I think that's one thing that, you guys asked, like you said, what can we do? What do we need to do? You have to have that want to create those spaces amongst each other. I know for us, we are intentional about our friend groups and our support systems. Y'all know my group chat is everything.
Yep.
They get me through, you know what I mean? So, some of the hardest times, but it's intentional. It's not, something that just happened for us.
Right.
We actually had to put that together and say, we are going to support each other in all of our endeavors. That's where I can go. That's my sounding board, outside of my husband, of course. Just be intentional, I think.
I believe that, I agree that Black men have to liberate each other.
Yes.
Black women liberate each other.
Yes.
I cannot put the kind of enthusiasm into my child that his dad can.
Right.
That's facts.
I just can't. And that is what brotherhood is about. And so I think the Black men who have been doing the work have to go get their brothers. You know what I'm saying? And I see it happening more and more, but we got too many Black men who haven't done the work that are sitting at these tables giving bad advice to Black men.
You talking about Derrick Jackson?
And that brings up my next thing is there's no, in Black men brotherhood, there's no accountability.
Yep.
There are no consequences. There's no consequences for when they harm a Black woman. And that's why they get away with it. There's somebody in our community, we just found out he's getting sued because they found out he spent, he owes the city he has to pay back $500,000. They've been misappropriating funds that are supposed to go to Black people in their community center. And they went to Ella's Dining and spent 7 racks, and come to find out they've been ripping off immigrants who they were supposed to be providing housing, and they've been overcharging them.
Oh my goodness.
And this dude, this man who's over this nonprofit, there's no account. He don't feel no need to step down. Now, if I had done some shit like that, you think I still have a job?
Come on.
Nope.
He doesn't need to have a job.
He doesn't need to have a job. He does not need to have he does not need to be in control of any money. And so I just I see how white men treat each other, how they don't see how bad they are. White men cape for each other.
Right.
Even over a white woman.
That's true.
Well,
and that's why I tell white women, you keep protecting the patriarchy. The patriarchy gonna show what they got for your ass.
Well, they do all the time. They don't
just all the time. Look at Blasey Ford, Dr. Blasey Ford. See what white men did to her.
Right. Or look at Trump.
Or look at Trump. How white men protect each other.
Well, and white women voted for him.
And white women voted for him.
Yep.
But the same things that we see our oppressors do, sometimes we do ourselves. And so I see Black men afraid to check their brother on some stuff.
That's true.
That's seen as a feminine thing. It's not seen as a thing of integrity and stuff like that.
And I think that's why
Rajeo talked about it. Was it last episode where you were saying that y'all was raised on no snitching?
Yep.
So you always gonna cape for each other and have each other's back.
No snitching,
right.
Well, and I think redefining what masculinity is, right? I think she just said it just now that if you were to hold your brother accountable, it's looked at as feminine. It's looked at as snitching. It's looked at as tattletale,
you're a
right?
hater, bro.
Or you're a hater, right? And in reality, true masculinity is integrity, character, holding people accountable. That should be the honorable thing to do.
Those are leadership qualities.
Those are leadership qualities.
Yep, that's true.
But in the past, how have we seen? What has been the example for Black men? How have we seen Black men holding other Black men accountable? It's been hella violent.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's the thing, though, right? People always tell me that they want to do these programs, and I appreciate a good program or a good community service. But if you're really gonna put change, if we're really gonna go to bat for change, it has to start with purposely taking a group of young men, purposely taking a group of young women, and having the right resources set forth from their childhood up. And because we all deal with our own individual struggles. In my household, my dad was a pastor and a crackhead, right? So I watched.
Wow,
So
I bet y'all Sunday services were lit.
Sunday services was lit, but Monday was hell. Tuesday was hell. Wednesday we had to go to church, so that was cool. And then you know what I'm saying, the rest of the week was trash. So I grew up in a household where you definitely couldn't say what was going on in our house.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But I did watch my dad go through therapy, and I did watch him go through rehab, and I did watch him rebound and make quite a bit of money, you know, doing better things and living a better life. So I got to see firsthand. I didn't really have he was in the house, but I didn't have a dad. I had a man in the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I didn't learn how to do the things. So for me, purposely, I decided that I wasn't going to be anything like my dad. And I ended up just like my dad, except without drugs, because all I knew how to handle things was how he handled things, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go through the therapy to open up to someone who could help me understand my trauma and my triggers and the things that I dislike, right? Instead of, so I was that shutdown person, right? You talk to me crazy, I'm just like, oh, you can die. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk to you whenever. You know what I mean? But that's not a resolution. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't help anyone. Right. All it does is damage all my relationships. So that's just for myself. But individually, I think that men have to be able, like you said, and like Photo B said, we have to be able to have that safe space. We have to have somewhere where we can talk to other men. You know what I'm saying? Because people would treat me as if my life was good because my dad was present, right? So the perception of me growing up, right, and my dad making some good, it was oh, you had a silver spoon, right? Nah, I didn't have a silver spoon, bro. We were sleeping in cars. You know what I mean? So
like you need healthy. We want healthy
relationships
right
in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's keys. It's not just okay to. So when you have these these old heads bringing up these young kids and they're giving them guns, right, and they're showing them how to sell fake drugs, and they're fighting over, I'm from Meadowview or I'm from Oak Park, and nobody owns a piece of that fucking property.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We don't own shit there, but we're fighting over a zip code in a territory, right? Or a funk or a beef, and that shit is passed down generationally.
Yep.
Right? And so then black women have to stand in the gap. They got to do all the fasting. They got to do all the praying. They got to do all the protecting. They got to deal with all the police phone calls. They got to bail the niggas out. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And then we're like, oh, why are black women angry? Because they're tired, bruh.
Exhausted. Come on.
They're tired. But nobody wants to talk about these conversations.
No, they always say, and I had to like check this pastor one time because she was trying to get on me she's like, why are you showing up like this? Why do I have to see your anger in public? And I told her, I said, you know what? It would really be more helpful for me if you ask me why I'm angry versus just telling me that. I already know that I'm angry, but the reason why I stay in that place is no one even gives a shit to ask me why.
Right.
What's wrong, sis?
Right.
Who hurt you, sis?
Right. Well, that just makes you more angry. When somebody asks you, why are you angry? How come you're always angry instead of, yo, how can we help in this space to make
what's
you
wrong?
Right.
Like what's why, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's
Tell
the only
me
way.
I'm angry. I already know I'm angry, goddammit.
And I think that's the only way to actually heal, right? You have to get to the root of the issue. I think too often, not only just personally in government and community, we are so focused on the symptom instead of the root. So we don't ever get to the why. And I think that's when you really get to the true healing, because you can get to a place where you ask, hey, why are you so angry? Why are you always yelling? Instead of, hey, what did your household look like? Was there a lot of yelling in there? Is that how you saw conflict being resolved? And is that what you most identify with? Or do you yell because maybe you feel like that you were not heard? And how can, and then you get to the more rude the question was, how can I better hear you? So that way you don't have to get to a point where you are yelling, where we can resolve it at the root instead of resolving it at the symptom.
So you're talking about communication again?
Talking about communication, transparency, honesty,
accountability,
all of that, understanding, all that. Yeah. All right.
All the things that we were never taught to do.
Well, you know what? And that's why media outlets like this are extremely important. So that way these conversations can then be duplicated at homes and, again, with spouses and partners and things like that. So to bring us to the final question, because I think this is kind of where we're trying to get at, and I think we already answered it. but I think we're gonna hit it home because I know there's a lot of black men that listen to this. There's a lot of black women that listen to this. How can black men better support black women so we can get to the root?
I wanted to end on that question too by centering our relationship with trans black women.
Okay.
Because you see trans black women being murdered, right? But you don't see trans black men being murdered. And so I want to break that down because it is when a woman transitions to a man, there's no problem with that. You don't see studs getting killed, right? You don't see trans black women getting killed.
Right.
You see black men who have taken on femininity being murdered.
Right.
And that is what we mean when we say there is a deeply ingrained hatred for black women and for black men to even appear feminine gets you killed. And I think that deserves some unpacking because my best friend is a trans black woman and I cannot imagine how I can live my life without her and for one of my brothers to take her life. And so I really want black men to know that that is something that they have to unpack, that y'all have to unpack on your own. That's what I need y'all to do for me.
Okay.
Is to unpack that toxic masculinity that's been passed down from generation to generation. Unpack why it's hard for y'all to cry, because we need y'all to cry. We need y'all to get that shit out and not on us. We need y'all to go get your brother. We need y'all to build community and safe space and go to therapy and talk to your inner child, the one that was abandoned, the one that saw his mom get beat, the one that saw his dad treat his mom like shit. We need you to talk to him and hold him and hug him and let him know that you see him and that he would never let anybody else do that to another kid. That's what we want y'all to do.
Yeah.
I'm just listening.
Me too. I don't got nothing to say.
That was everything. Because I was going to say the same thing. Do the work for yourselves that you need to do on yourselves, because we could tell you until we're blue in the face, but you have to decide that I want to be a better person, a better man for yourself, because you can't do what we need you to do if you're still carrying around all that trauma and all that toxicity. Like, you have to be intentional about the work. We can't do it for you. So that's why it's kind of like a slap in the face when it's like, okay, well, what do you need? I need you to be better. I need you to do better for yourself.
So let me ask a question. So when that No Name and J. Cole situation came up and that bar where he said, I need you to help us get there, was that was a trigger because of that very notion? Okay.
Exactly, because it's like, I can't unpack your trauma for you. I can't, I can't do that for you.
Right. Okay.
I can't do that. There's some stuff we can't do for you.
Right.
No.
And you guys are super women to us as kids. So when you, I think that like you're not supposed to bear that burden. But I think for some reason, man, I think innately black men find all of their reassurance, all of their safety, I think they go to black women for all of that stuff, right? So when
some of us do.
Well, yeah, some of us, not all of us. Not all of us. You're right. I'm speaking.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know. For us.
Yeah.
Yes. I got you.
He said so, not some of us, but now I'm speaking for us.
Hey.
Us at this forum.
Yes. Because we love black women here.
No, that's facts.
And we
That's
will
facts.
always stand up for, speak for, advocate for. Hey, because what I don't understand, and I'm sorry that I just don't understand being birthed by a black woman and then growing up to hate black women. I just don't get it. I don't get
with black
because
sisters.
They're just doing what they seen their daddy do. They don't know. They don't even know they hate black women. You saw your daddy not help out.
Yeah.
You saw your daddy talk to your mom crazy.
Yeah.
You see men not respect your mom. You don't see your mom. You don't see people who look like your mom being respected in society. You don't know nothing else.
Yeah, and that's probably true. And that's a question that I gotta ask my black men and my black brothers is like that's one of them. The other one is how do you get birthed by a black woman and then don't find black women attractive? That's crazy to me too. But again,
you already talked about the media and the music videos. And
no, I know, but you see your mom every day.
Yeah, but your mom's not running around with her butt cheeks out.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying.
No, but that is what it is, bro. You can't talk about the music industry and the influence that it has on the psyche of someone and then not take that into account.
No, and I totally get that. But what I'm saying is, for you to say that somebody that looks like your mother is not beautiful is crazy.
It is. It's stupid as fuck.
It's
crazy.
It's stupid.
Or
all
this fat phobia with black men. Like they don't like fat black men. Like your mama's fat.
Your mama's fat. It's like big mama.
I'd be like, dog, your mom got a fat ass. I'm that friend.
No, you know what though? Also though too, if in fact that you are, I think that some people, you know how black men say stupid shit like a white woman wouldn't trip off of this shit because she didn't have to raise your stupid black ass with your black ass daddy. That's why. So I think that a lot of these dudes suffer from low self-esteem or traumatic experiences from being raised by a single mom or whatever, and they're like, I don't want to deal with that shit as a grown man. It doesn't make you less of a shitty person.
No, I understand.
You're just dealing with somebody who deals with more shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, we thank you, and hopefully when this COVID-19 situation goes away, that we can have you actually here physically with us on the show.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I think this was definitely one of the dopest interviews that we've done thus far.
Yeah.
And before you go, I just want to get your quick thoughts on The Black Is King because I know that you watched it.
Oh, I thought we was gonna do One Gotta Go.
We are.
Oh, I haven't unpacked. I feel like it was really good. It was beautiful. I think I want to lean into the voices of people who have more intellectual things to say.
Okay.
I would have, I've read a couple, thoughts of what some people have to say about how Africans were displayed, and I respect those thoughts. I appreciate Beyonce. I think that she could not have done that movie without having to engulf herself in African history. And it was very, very evident that she took the history of Africa and the culture very seriously. And there's something called mounting, and she talks about Oshun. And mounting is when you become possessed by your Orisha. And so I think I want people to not romanticize or, what she's talking about when it comes to African spirituality. African spirituality is the oldest spirituality in the world. And so although she made it look cute, that shit is very real. It's a real, the religion of the Yoruba people, that's very real. Orishas are very real. And so I don't want people to just make it like it's this cute thing because Beyonce had on a yellow dress in Lemonade and she's talking about Oshun. No, that stuff is very real. And so that's my thought on just how, and I worry because white people steal every damn thing.
Oh, my
and so
they'll have dashikis on in a little bit.
I worry about like our culture in mainstream media because white people are going to eventually steal it and profit from it.
They had to take off for the what's her name, Nancy Pelosi.
Oh yeah.
When they
oh my God.
They had
the kente cloth on the moment of the side.
When they all kneeled.
Yeah, when they kneeled for George Floyd.
With the kid. I said,
oh my Lord. Who was that?
He had approved.
Y'all know who gave him the kente
Oh
cloth?
yeah.
The Black Congressional Caucus.
Exactly.
Hey, when we talk about the culture vultures, here, I'll sell it to you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Elika, we definitely appreciate you being on, and
I loved it.
Okay, man, and we will have to have you back on.
I'm adding you on Facebook right now.
Yeah,
she's on mine already.
Okay. All right.
I got a job though, so I had to tone it down on Facebook. So it's not.
Hey, I'm wild on Facebook. So don't judge me by my Facebook content.
I can't even post the stuff I used to post. I used to be crazy wild.
She said I got a job.
She got that job. You can't be losing them. Can't be
Yeah.
losing them health benefits during the pandemic.
Hey, she's not missing.
I got a full-time job with benefits during the pandemic. You can't tell me what my job.
Come on.
I know I'm not stupid.
You gotta be a good steward now.
Be a good steward and keep that twerking video to yourself. You're a professional, Elika. You are somebody's mama.
That ain't never stopped the twerk video. Being somebody's mama. They just twerking right next to the kids.
Health benefits do.
Come on.
All right. Well, we are honored to have you on, and I think everybody here was very appreciative of you giving your insight and your intellect and just giving probably a different perspective that what our listeners are used to listening to. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one of the things that we wanted to aim for, is just giving voices to the Black culture. And that's everybody. That's not just our perspective, not what we think. It's everybody that has something intellectual and telling their stories. So
yeah, and I wrote y'all a little jingle. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Hold up.
It's the Reverb Experiment. Ooh. I'm just kidding, y'all. I didn't.
Wait, no.
Hey,
Time out. One more time.
You did your best.
I'm gonna take that.
I'm so mad.
Let me see. You go. It's the Reverb Experiment.
I actually like that.
Yeah.
Hey, we was looking for an intro.
Hey, one more time.
We might have to cut that clip.
Do that one more time. I'm taking it.
All right. We're gonna let you go before this turns into a 2-hour interview. And
How long has it been?
Man, hey, the topics that we talking about, this could have been a full-on episode just talking about it, because it is a heavy subject. But we appreciate you. I know you got the little.
So dope.
Thank you.
I'm so happy I was able to talk to y'all.
We appreciate that love.
Good. You said that, so when you add me on your page, man,
I will.
Yeah, we're going to be checking to see if you're sharing the episode.
She's going to be like, this nigga said what about strap-ons? I said it.
All right.
Oh, my God. All right. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That was dope.
That was a good interview.
Lit.
That was good.
That was a good interview.
Yeah.
Oh, man. How do we follow that up?
I don't know, man. I'm
Will
ready
one
to go.
gotta go?
What am I saying?
The one gotta go.
She just, no, don't call her.
No, we got to call her back. We got to call her back. Dang.
And I said, didn't I say
He
something?
said.
Did you?
I said that
when we
one
talked
gotta
about
go.
what black
And we
women
talk about
need,
black
we
men
need
need
black
to
men to listen.
And we didn't listen.
No,
Terrible.
you didn't listen.
I know.
We were like,
You didn't stop me. Did you stop me? You supposed to hold me accountable.
I don't have to. Hey,
Yeah.
you fucked
Damn.
up. You fucked up, bro.
Anyway,
We need you to take care of Steph.net better.
Man.
hold on. Let's see if she answers.
I was like, well, we already hung up.
Nah, we gonna get
I'm
this
like,
back.
look, I'm barely on the stable, so I don't, trying to get used to back to.
Like a rookie.
Right.
We got to rock.
Yeah, we gonna have to rock. Hold on.
When you're a part of the team.
Hello? Okay, I'm glad we got it back. I forgot. I didn't listen. I was held accountable. So the one game that we play, so with all our guests, we play One's Gotta Go. So before you go, we have to play the One's Gotta Go.
Hey, just gonna skip my little
My
segment.
bad.
She was about to go
My
have
bad.
breakfast.
Hey, I was held accountable.
All right.
All right, stop.
Okay, so for this week, I figured, we haven't really got to have a summer, really, because of COVID. So when COVID is over and we get to the cookout,
Don't you dare.
I'm saying, which one of these is
Don't
all
you
cookout
dare.
songs, which one gotta go?
Don't you dare.
Return of the Mac,
Oh man.
This Is How We Do It, Before I Let Go, or Poison.
Oh,
Which
can't
one
let go.
we let?
Bell Biv?
Wait, what was the last one?
Poison by Bell Biv DeVoe.
Oh.
That
Ooh.
girl.
So what are the options? It was Return of the Mac
This Is How We Do It, Before I Let Go, or
and
Poison.
Okay.
Them is the summer cookout songs.
I got my answer.
I already got my answer too.
Same.
We letting the guests answer first.
I know.
All right,
I
ladies
think
first.
Poison.
Ooh, you should see Rajeo's face right now. He almost got it from the table.
I couldn't breathe.
Well,
How dare you?
I'm about to tell on myself. Y'all know I was raised in the church Pentecostal home. I don't think I know. Can you sing Poison? I don't know.
That girl is poison.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to be poisoned.
She said I don't want to be poisoned.
That's why I gotta go. That's not an affirmation.
Okay, poison gotta go.
Poison gotta go. All right.
We got one poison.
Nope. She's poison? No.
What? It's like in a good way. Like,
if you hear the song, you'll be all right.
well,
Did we just
poison.
talk about this?
Come on, right? We did just talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
What you got, BJ?
before I let go.
Oh, you got to go,
You
bruh.
got to go. No, you
Apparently I
gotta
don't.
go.
And you
Apparently I
hand
don't.
shook?
Oh no,
Apparently
y'all
I
gotta
don't.
go.
You
Apparently I
got
don't.
before I
Apparently I
let
don't.
you go can go because I'm trying to dance the rest of the time. I don't want to be at the barbecue. Before I let you go, before I let you go. No,
Nah.
That's not how it goes.
no, is that the one? Can
Yo,
I get
y'all
a
on the
gift
wrong
just
before I let
now?
No,
go.
y'all think about the
Before
wrong
I
one.
let go. Come on now.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
Okay, then I will keep that. Then Return of the Mac can go.
What?
Yep.
No.
That's the one for me can go. Return of the Mac can go. Because I
the
love
one that
Poison.
can.
No, I love Poison,
Bruh.
and I never really liked that song.
Bruh. Thank
Huh?
you. Hit that one.
Oh my god.
Hey, Return
My
of the Mac is
answer-
out of here, bro.
No, no. It's a dedicated black women. You go last. No, because I want you to have the last say.
Okay, go ahead.
I gotta
You go
go with
last.
Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Because every time I used to go to the club, that song was played. I hear it everywhere I go on cruises.
'Cause
I
it's
just-
lit.
No, it got played out.
What song?
This is how we do it.
Nah, man, I can't. It
Come
got
on
it
now.
got played out,
This
man.
See,
is
but that's how I
we
feel
do
about-
it.
that's how I feel about Return of the Mac.
There she go. Nah,
How
I can't
we
do
do
them.
it. Na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yes, how we do
Yeah.
it. It's Friday.
Okay, so what do we got so far? We got
Before I let go.
We got
Before I
one of
Let
each.
Go. We
Yeah.
got Return of the
Return of the
Mac.
Mac can
We got Poison, and you said,
I said,
this is how we do it.
You're gonna make somebody a loser right now by whatever song you pick.
It's so hard because they all bops. Oh my goodness, y'all! I'm really stressed right now because I don't want to get canceled, but I'm gonna have to go with Poison.
Ow.
Damn,
They
Poison
was
lost.
texting, they was messaging each other on Facebook while,
No,
they, made,
I'm just.
while they made their decision.
I'm the
She
one
texted
that
saying-
picked the. I already had my answer, but
Belle Biv? You're on
Belle
drugs.
Biv got
You're
a.
rude. You
That's
are
like,
rude.
Come on, bro.
My husband is ready to leave me here. I
He
can
is.
see
Look
it.
at his energy. Look at his energy. He is pacing.
He was feeling me.
Bro,
I said Montel
he's
Jordan.
pacing the game room. Just hey,
This
play,
is how we
play
do
air hockey,
it.
bro. It'll
It's
make you
fine.
feel
I'm
good.
sorry,
All
that
right.
just gets
Just
me
play
hyped
ping pong
every
by
time.
yourself.
All
Play
right.
air hockey,
Play
bro.
ping
It'll
pong by
make you
yourself.
feel good.
Okay.
Or play ping pong. It'll make you feel good.
Thank you for your one's gotta go, even though I don't agree.
The shade.
Oh, I'm so upset.
This is why I do one gotta go because y'all will make it too easy.
Anyway. Thank you. We will keep in touch and we're gonna have you on the show. All right?
All right.
All right. Love and blessings.
Love and blessings. Bye.
This fool said before I let go, I still. Woo, BJ.
I don't know
He
if I can
young.
recover
He
from
young.
I'm gonna just hit y'all with the shrug.
I thought they were talking about the slow jam. I was like,
No.
ain't nobody trying to listen
Hey,
to that.
at this point, because I don't even really know what song that was, so that's automatically off the
that.
list.
Well,
yeah.
Return of the Mac is. I'm over.
No.
How you gonna say
No.
return? That's the other.
No.
that's a classic.
So is the one you picked. It's also a classic.
Is it more of a classic than
It
those?
does- oh,
No,
so we're gonna
you
pair
don't like
classic
it because you
levels?
got tired
You
of
got tired of it. That's
I
how
don't get tired of classics. I can hear Before I
This
Let Go
nigga is-
forever. Forever. I can hear Poison.
That's why I'll
forever.
never watch Wild West again.
Yeah.
watching that shit yesterday.
Your viewpoint on classics
He was
has been
watching- he was watching-
questioned.
He's counting.
All right.
Anyway,
So internet wins again.
Let's go.
It's a classic.
Let's get into it. All right. Tory, Meg Thee Stallion update. What did we learn? What's new?
We learned that she does not feel protected, and she was shot in both her feet.
Both
Both
of
are
the
feet.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
oh,
And didn't they say it was as she was trying to leave the vehicle?
That's what she said.
Yeah, she was
Yes.
trying to
We
leave.
haven't heard
Well,
from
no.
Tory.
I'm
Have we heard
sorry.
from Tory?
She did
No,
not
not
say
at all.
that because
Oh.
at first she said that it was glass. She just confirmed that she was shot. So I don't want to put anything. And you know what? I think we got last episode wrong. We said Juju on the beat said that Tory's Tory's days were numbered.
He did.
It's Little no. There's Juju on the beat and there's
Ju.
Little Ju. So
no, June on. Oh yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, June on the beats out here. Sorry, he was.
Juju on the beat and Lil Juju
are different.
Yeah, you right.
Okay, so we apologize.
Sorry,
we
bro.
Put, you know.
I know there was the
I'm
50
sure
Cent apology
slaps.
where he said that he felt like he was joking about it because he didn't think it was that serious.
50, yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you what though, this shit would have had way different energy if Tory would have shot Kylie instead of Meg. This shit would have been crazy.
Absolutely.
These niggas act like it's just okay that Meg got shot. We have memes and jokes. If Kylie would, man, that nigga be under the jail.
Yeah.
come on.
You feel me? So
And the whole Cameron jokes where he was saying, oh, you know, that she's a transvestite or she's a man, and that's why Tory shot her. And it's crazy, like,
I saw all kind of articles about her name being Pete Joshua or Joshua.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't understand why we do that, because we did the same thing with Sierra as well.
Yeah,
when Sierra first came out and we were like, oh, Sierra must be a man. I was like, I don't even understand where it even came from. And now it's like, now she's like goals. Now she's like, oh, that's the perfect one. You know,
Isn't it funny?
It don't make no
Isn't it
sense to
funny?
me. Like,
Because we just jump on and say whatever somebody else says.
And Olivia from 50 Cent's camp, we were saying that she was a man too. And it's just like, I don't know where that comes from.
yeah, I don't know how those rumors get started and like what's the criteria for people to just assume that. Like, I don't.
What's the you're a man criteria?
Like, what sparks that to
Apparently,
that thought?
Apparently, if you're 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, if you're tall,
I guess.
yeah.
So, yeah, so there isn't any. Tory's been totally quiet, which obviously
he's a very smart man
because he knows that
he's
going to be going to court pretty soon.
He is a very smart man.
So do we have enough to gather that we know that Tory shot her?
No.
Do we have enough to guess? That
Well,
Tory
I mean,
shot her?
yeah, but we don't but you know,
Come on,
the
bro.
actual
If there's a gun here,
right?
The dude that went to jail for having a gun and somebody that said they was shot that was in the same car with them.
I guess it goes down more to like,
this
what
nigga photo B
happened.
thinks somebody else shot her and Tory
threw
was
the
threw
gun in the car and
threw the gun
ran.
in Tory's waistband.
Kylie
No,
shot
I understand.
Her. Kylie shot her.
BJ,
Oh my god!
BJ's trying to be the journalist by saying that we don't have enough information.
You can
to
say
defend
allegedly.
what he said.
say allegedly.
He said
Innocent,
innocent
you know, so
until proven
It's a
guilty.
podcast.
Because you
It's
know we still
podcast
gotta,
conversation.
you know, what I'm saying
Tory
we
shot
still
her.
gotta do it like that. You know, what I'm saying because they don't do it like that for us black men.
So
Innocent until proven guilty.
yeah,
They don't do it for us like that.
No, that's true.
That nigga shot her. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So what do we feel about the alleged reason for the actual shooting?
That's
You
ridiculous.
guys hear it?
About
that
how-
I guess they were at the party, and then Tory was giving too much attention to Kylie, and then they got in the they were in the argument in the car, and then
I believe all of that.
Yeah.
I don't. I believe what she said, that people is making up stories to cover for themselves.
Why? This is how I felt about a lot of the what does it take for a man to actually shoot you? In your
Drugs?
Oh.
I mean, it's pretty easy if you high.
Okay, factual.
I mean, it don't take much,
You don't
provoking if somebody is
You
high.
don't think she
and
was beating him up?
No,
I don't think
You don't
so.
think she put her hands on him at all?
I think they were arguing.
You don't think she put her hands on him at all?
No.
You think he just pulled out, started shooting at her because they were having an argument
Yes,
in real life?
So
Yes.
he shot her in both feet.
Because she was yelling at him.
I think that they were arguing, and I think that he was. I said this last time. He was crossfaded, high, intoxicated,
Come
whatever.
on.
He was having a good night. He thought he was going to be able to shoot a shot at Kylie. Meg cut it off. He was upset, and like most times when men get upset, I think he took it to a whole different level, and he took out the gun, and he was trying to tell her to shut up, or tell her to be quiet, or tell her to stop talking. I don't think that I do not think that she put hands on him at all.
Well, at least he didn't shoot her above the waist in California. If it's below the waist, it's not attempted murder.
What?
So-
I didn't know that.
So
I'm going to keep that in mind.
Shot her in the feet.
Okay.
I'll teach you.
No, but I think in this instance, and especially with the conversation that we had, I think too often we don't believe the victim, and we always think that the victim is lying, and I think that
Or they had to do something to deserve
I don't
it.
think we have no reason not to believe her.
I didn't say I don't believe
There we
her.
go.
I was just asking.
No, I know. I'm just saying, for me, I don't think there's no reason for me not to believe Meg Thee Stallion, and I have every reason to not believe Tory Lanez because he hasn't said anything. And obviously, due diligence, we need to wait for everybody. But the fact that he said it was self-defense, that's his angle.
That's what he said.
There's no self-defense that involves you shooting somebody in both feet.
Unless you're Tory Lanez, bro, 5'3", 120.
Again,
you gotta do whatever you gotta do.
There's no self-defense. Did Meg have a gun?
Come on.
No.
So
exactly.
So self-defense is out the window to me. You really think Tory Lanez feared for his life to the fact that he had to pull out a gun and shoot her in both feet?
Meg, listen.
You got somebody towering over you like that?
No, it's not even the towering. It's just
man.
you could tell Meg. She with the shits. You could tell.
Did he fear for his life?
Nigga,
I don't know.
5'3",
No.
120.
Nah,
No.
bro.
And I'm driving.
No.
I'm
All
going
right,
to the next
that was
time.
fine.
I'm going to the next time.
I'm gonna stop bullshit caping for that nigga.
Because you know he wrong.
Yeah, he wrong.
Period.
I was trying to make content.
I cannot.
Oh, here we go.
Winning highlights. Come on, try again.
All right.
That's a low light in my career.
How do we feel about the Black Is King album? Black Is King review. There's been some controversy.
I feel like I wouldn't say that it's warranted, but I feel like I'm not surprised because it is so deep.
Okay, I'm sorry. Context for the listeners that maybe have been in prison or just got out or don't know what's going on. Okay, so Beyonce just released a visual album that has songs from the Lion King soundtrack, and she basically made a mini kind of movie with multiple songs that detail a black boy that is basically taking the same arc as Simba.
Was it actual songs from the movie, or was it just like
they were
words,
like video excerpts? So there were a bunch of the familiar, famous parts of like you could hear Rafiki
like
talking.
the lines and stuff. Like I remember like the lines and the words being said. Right. I just wasn't sure about the songs. Okay.
Yeah, the songs, the majority of the songs, if not all the songs, are on the Lion King soundtrack.
Oh wow.
Because I believe she executive produced it. I believe.
Makes sense. If I'm Beyonce and I'm executive producing The Lion King, I'm putting all my songs on there.
Wait, was it the Black Is King, or was it the last project she did a month or two ago?
The Gifted?
Let's put her on.
Was it The Gifted?
Yes.
That she did all the Lion King stuff. That she also had like James Brown, a few other people.
Yes.
On their Black Parade. No, that's Black Parade.
Oh, you're talking about Black Parade.
Yeah, Black Parade had a lot of when she was doing all the like showing off other people's stuff, as well as online having other like artists like their work on the website and on the site and stuff like that. So I don't know.
So the Lion King soundtrack was called The Gift.
Yes, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So the majority of the songs that are on there are from that soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like it's so deep that of course it's gonna have a little bit of controversy tied to it. And I don't think it's a bad thing because I feel like something this big should spark conversation, and it's not always going to be the easy conversations. And we're about having those hard conversations. I feel like it needs to be had, and people need to just listen. I feel like people, especially of course Beyonce stans, are just immediately ready to go on the attack. And I don't believe that she put this out just for people to consume it and like it. We need to start having these conversations and digging deep. So I'm here for it.
Other thoughts?
I didn't allow myself to watch it fully just yet. But I do see what people's issue is right now with how she portrayed everything. Not really portrayed everything, but how she went about it.
Right.
Visuals, what I saw were phenomenal. It was a beautiful watch, right? But right now, at this time, Black Lives Matter, and I feel like she kept it with black culture, not African culture, because that's not who's really in attack. Africa isn't in attack right now.
Africa's always under attack.
Well, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But
You say what I'm saying right now. It's like everything's going on. It's kind of like let's celebrate our own culture on the land that we are on right now. Just because
that's what a lot of people said, right? A lot of people were talking about you in a time where we're fighting for black equality and black black equality, black jobs, black ownership, black representation in businesses, black this, black that, it was kind of it's kind of weird to do a African what's the word that No Name used? African accents.
You want me to read it?
Oh, aesthetics.
Yeah, the African aesthetic for I'm not mad at her for going back to where we come from and doing. I'm not mad at her at all.
Right.
That absolutely needs to be highlighted. But I think everything has to be done in timing.
Right.
And so, I like the visuals. I love that it's in Africa. I love that it's Ghanaian. I love that she incorporated the culture and the dances and I love that she used her platform to give Africa a platform, right? But I also can see the other side of the coin where it could be viewed as being capitalistic, where you're using it to make money. And are we really going back and doing the work in Africa to back up a video where you're making money off of African culture, which is what No Name was saying. I also agree with Photo B that this is a time for us to be empowered, right? I think that it's all about timing, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with what she did, especially considering it is the Lion King.
Yeah,
and it
Right.
is
That's
based
why you got to
in
look at the
Africa.
context. If it's based off of the movie, then it just makes
it makes it for it to be
for it to be in Africa.
If G Focus is right, and this was her attempt at making something great for Black Power, I don't think this was it, because it didn't come out as something that brought everybody together. It came out as something that was torn down the middle, down the seams. But it's Beyonce's great music, and she can sing her ass off, and she's gorgeous, and she's a billionaire, and people want to be around her.
Yeah.
I also realized too that I think that if she was to do something out here at this time, it probably would have low-key looked like Lemonade, the way Lemonade was. I mean, it's possible to do everything differently, but it probably wouldn't have. I mean, it still would actually, I honestly feel like would have brought a greater message in showing, like, us here. But yeah, it does make sense for the whole Lion King aspect of it to be in Africa, but it still could have been done out here, as if like we don't have any kings and princes out here.
I think it's crazy, like, that you have black people saying they don't see themselves because you could have did it here, you could have highlighted us or whatever, but then you also have African people on the other side saying I don't see myself in this, like there's more to Africa than this. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like, dang, like nobody is.
You know what's crazy is, like you said, when African people are saying this is not our culture.
Yeah, we don't see ourselves in this. There's more to us than just what she portrayed. And I mean,
I saw drawing problems from like the people being colored and coloring the people blue and coloring I've seen people that were upset about a lot of the demonic symbolism with the guy that was the devil crawling on the table and the motorcycle shaped in the form of demons and devils and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna find something wrong with Beyonce.
Yeah, you can't make everybody happy, honestly.
You can't.
So everybody's gonna have a problem with something.
What about just 60%?
Maybe. I think that's
50%.
Yeah,
not 50, but
I'll read No Name's tweet in a minute. I think it's a complex issue because on one side of it, I think that Beyonce, anything that she does is extremely calculated. So I think that she did take time to make sure that what she was doing was going to fit or going to hit the target of what her goal was. So I think that's the question here, is what was the goal? So what I felt, or what I took from it, was the goal was to bridge the gap between what we feel or what we feel like we should be connected to. And I think the imagery, it was definitely very well done. Like for the example on the Brown Skin Girl song, I think that was amazing because we don't usually get those images to see on an everyday basis. And for Beyonce at the stature where she's at, I think for her to do that, the impact that it not only has on America, that it has on black people across the globe, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Africa, England, whatever, I think that it was kind of brings us together because it brings us to the point where we realize that black is beautiful and that black can be beautiful, and black in Africa or whatever tribe that you come from, that is who we were before slavery. I think we see and we get dominated with all these images of us in slavery that, like you said, that our history starts there. So I think that was the goal. The goal was to bring it and say, this is who we are as a people, and we are beautiful, and whatever it is you say or do can't stop that. Like even the image where she had the white servant or like the white butler. So the only white person in the whole entire thing was a butler. So it's like kind of flipping the script. Like, you always tell us that we're not beautiful, but no, we are beautiful. And I just liked how she gave homage to Campbell, to Naomi Campbell, to Kelly Rowland. You know, she had the little black boy in there. So I just think it was something for everybody. But I also understand how some of the Africans feel. But I think, again, is you have to come to what is the goal. So if the goal was to raise awareness to black lives across everywhere, then she missed the mark. But I don't think that was her goal. Yeah. I think her goal was to tell the story of Lion King through the young boy, and was to bring black, dark skin, brown skin to the screen, so that way we would have more positive images in our indigenous culture where we come from. So it kind of depends on on what the goal is. What did you think Beyonce was trying to accomplish?
I mean, just think about the movie as far as him finding himself and reclaiming his throne.
Right.
I mean, as black people, like you said, we are disconnected from our true roots. I feel like that's the story she was telling.
That's the art. Yeah.
Right. I understand the story, but when you have a platform already that large, adding something else for African culture, or it's not that hard, right? So if her goal was to reenact the Lion King, she did a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. But if there was a deeper premise to it, then you're right. I think she missed the mark.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm saying that she missed the mark as far as what a lot of them are saying. I'll read one of the tweets right here. So one of the first tweets that came after No Name read it, he said, "Sis, they're killing us in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. The world is turning a blind eye to blatant human rights we're facing every single day. Our black lives clearly don't matter." So the gripe is for him is like, you are, and in context, let me read her tweet, excuse me. "We love African aesthetic draped in capitalism. Hope we remember the black folks on the continent whose daily lives are impacted by U.S. imperialism. If we can uplift the imagery, I hope we can uplift those who will never be able to access it. Black liberation is a global struggle." So she tied it to that. So I get what she's saying. I just don't think that, again, is that on Beyonce or is that on us? Because Beyonce put out the imagery, and it's us, and it's for us to say.
Did she not hold Kendrick and Cole to the same standard though? You're capitalizing off of black stories, black struggle, right? Then you need to be out there doing the work. So No Name hasn't changed her energy. She hasn't changed her stance.
Right.
So I understand. That was one of the things that we talked about off camera is I don't like how now the internet's attacking No Name when she's doing the exact same thing that she did with Cole and Kendrick.
But they was for them.
So now it's Beyonce. Now she needs to shut up. No, she's right. Mm-hmm. If you are going to go ahead and you're highlighting that, then highlight do the work that comes with it. Like we just had the conversation with the black men and the black women. It's not enough to just talk about it, right? And it's fine that we talk about it. But after this show and these cameras go off, if you and I and Photo B and Coach D-Lo and Nate, and if we don't do the work, then the conversation is for nothing.
Right.
It's for entertainment value.
But
right?
are we expecting that from Beyonce?
I think people expect that from someone who's a black billionaire. If you're going to do African work and you're going to bring global recognition to Africa and you're going to take it past the point of slavery to who we are, I think that at some point, man, we don't expect it from Oprah, but she does it. You know what I'm saying? We don't expect it from some of my contractual friends but we didn't expect it from Akon, and Akon does it. You know what I mean? Right. So it's not that we expect it from them. It's that, if you're going to play in this ballpark over here, then be an asset at the same time as you're making money off.
Well, but do we not think that was an asset?
What?
They said that it depends on. I feel like the way that she did it in employing, African people and creatives in the whole process, the crew down to the crew and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like that's great, but like he said, people are losing their lives. So, I mean, is employing the people that you are capitalizing off of enough? Or should she be doing more than that?
Well, and I think that's what my question is what are we expecting from Beyonce?
I think people are explaining.
And then what are we expecting from the project? Because from what I took it from, it was just to highlight the beauty of black people
and
all
the Lion
over.
King.
Well, no. Well, all over. And then she obviously used
the Lion King as the platform. Maybe.
As the platform. So
Gotcha.
if Beyonce was a super conscious person that she said her goal is to help fight for black liberation, then then I can say, hey, I expect that from her. I think Cole is different because a lot of Cole's messaging is that he's fighting for black people. He's a conscious rapper, or he comes across as a conscious rapper, which I think that's why he had to clear his name and saying that I'm not who you guys think I am. And he said that, there's more people that are way more smarter than me, and started pointing people to her by saying, if you really want to get down with the fight, go to them. And I think what really sparked it was,
I still think that's a cop-out too, though, for Cole.
How is it? I
think it's a cop-out. I think that instead of saying, what he did though is he did ask to be educated, and he did ask for,
right.
So I guess that's cool. But at the same time, man, when you're a regular everyday person,
mm-hmm.
and you're in Africa,
mm-hmm.
and you know that people are being murdered by the masses and being killed, and that your territory is still being ripped to shreds, and you know that white supremacy is still over there taking all your natural resources, mm-hmm. and then you have a mega celebrity like Beyonce, a billionaire who spends time over there, mm-hmm. they probably expect you to come in and do something. Right? You're going to come out and you're going to employ us. And I'm not saying that they should, mm-hmm. but that's how we feel about celebrities in America when we have crises. I'm upset that we got to listen to Terry Crews give us acronyms for coon, and bitch, you're from Flint. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Why did Jaden have to go get water? Mm-hmm. You're from Flint, dog. Mm-hmm. So there is an expectation that when people promote you and they help you, and we spend all these dollars endorsing you and making you a billionaire, there is some implication in people's minds that, hey, maybe you should help out when help is necessary.
And I totally get that. I just think it's wrong.
I think it's wrong too.
I think it's wrong to expect something from somebody that is not in them. It's not in you. Like, do we so
you're setting yourself
like
up
with
to
Michael
be
Jordan?
Disappointed,
So with like Michael Jordan, that was always a knock on him, right? That mm-hmm. he was never conscious, he never gave back to the black community, and then but he showed you who he was. So are you expecting something from somebody that he's never shown you that that's what he's about?
No, I mean, but they're not. Even if they don't show you, white people still went out and buy tickets to see Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan shows up in your city, even if you're a losing team, mm-hmm. those tickets double, triple, quadruple,
Absolutely.
Right? And that's because Michael Jordan is showing up.
Absolutely.
Right? Even though Michael's not getting a bigger profit off of that, but when those ticket prices go up, we're actually the people that help you get those endorsements.
Right.
We're the people who help you get the right? So I think, like I said, even though I agree with you 100%, mm-hmm. that we shouldn't be responsible, that they don't have to be responsible if that's not what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But there's an innate part of you that we just want people to see, okay, you have all this surplus. It would be nice for you to help out where
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With the people that you're using to make more money.
Absolutely.
So
that part.
I totally agree with that.
That's all I'm saying.
I think that she can, and I think, but her even putting it out brings up this conversation where hopefully that's what it leads to, is that we do get.
That would be great. And we don't know if she did or if she didn't.
Right.
So I'm just responding on behalf of the people who are tweeting and that are upset.
Right. And to give every context, this just came out yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is fresh. We don't know Beyonce's intentions. We don't know, she hasn't made any statements. We don't know if she's donated to Africa or not. We don't know if she has anything planned over there or not.
Name got on that.
Yeah, because they were saying that she's not done any shows there.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
That was one of the arguments, or that was one of the issues that some of the African people have had, was that you are using the aesthetics of Africa, but you have not had a world tour in Africa. So you're trying to, use this to capitalize off of it, but yet
you're not feel like it's for capital gains?
I think everything in this country, everything is for capital.
Facts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they should.
And those two, especially Jay-Z and Beyonce,
they don't do nothing for free.
I think sometimes they have good intentions, but the good intentions are also tied with, can we capitalize off
money
of it
with the NFL play and everything?
Yeah, and we've questioned her on her intentionality and her, but I think it's kind of a wait. I think it's kind of wait and see. And again, I'm appreciative of what she actually did because again, as a black father that has a black daughter,
I'm dark skinned, so them people look like me.
That's what I'm saying. I think to see us represented on screen in that light, I think was positive, and I think it was good. So I want to just accept that part of it, and then we'll wait and see if it causes
appreciate
change.
it.
Yes, I want to appreciate what it was.
I think they damn near want her to go out there and do like her version of God's plan.
They damn near want her to go out there and do something to help Africa.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because God's
at least raise awareness.
God's plan was really great. To watch Drake give away $1 million.
But again, that was to market the album.
Exactly. So that was
So what he said.
So what he said in the videos, they gave me $1 million to market this album, right? Mm-hmm. It said it in words in English, right? And so so when you're giving away $1 million, we all want to see you give away $1 million,
right?
That's dope as hell.
We all want to know where the hell we were at,
right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why wasn't I there?
Come to sack, bro.
Hey, do it again. God's plan part 2. Come on here.
But
I'll be outside.
Like you said, the intent was I'm gonna do something that gives back to the people, and it's gonna make people buy my product, right? Mm-hmm. So, yes, Beyonce probably had the same intent because at the end of the day, you're in the business of making music to make what?
Money.
Exactly.
You know, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, nobody wants to just do stuff for free. Right. People say that all the time. So it's like,
and people got to realize that you have a budget, you have projections, you have a goal. So I mean, you do got to make some money off of it.
Come on.
But I get what they're saying. They're saying you're using our aesthetics and not raising awareness to our problems.
Yes.
So again, like when No Name was saying with Cole, well, it was a general conversation. I think she was more directed at Kendrick. That you
Kendrick
are
still
making
didn't say
money,
nothing with his smart self.
that you are making money off of black issues, but yet you are nowhere to be found when black issues need to be talked about. And I think that's the bigger issue that we have here. All right, so we're gonna talk about Michelle Obama's podcast.
yes.
So I'm gonna play a clip.
It was pretty boring.
Was it?
Yeah. There's a lot of good information, but it wasn't exciting.
I didn't listen to it all yet.
I listened to the whole thing.
I listened to it all yet. I already feel like I'm not going to want to finish it though.
Wow.
You're not gonna finish it?
I'm going to, but I feel like I don't want to. I think a lot of people aren't going to due to the fact of like you kind of have a certain expectation. As we can tell, we have a certain expectations of our elite black, right? And it's like we know a lot of them aren't going to use their platform for what we want them to use their platform for.
Really? Okay.
You don't think Michelle's gonna use it for?
That's interesting.
I'm afraid that she's not.
You don't think she's gonna do this?
I'm afraid not the way that we would think she would.
Okay.
Because you got to think about
I want to talk now.
Yeah, let's talk. So I'm gonna play the clip first.
Yeah, play the clip.
Because we saved money and we lived small, as my father said.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me give context. So her and Barack Obama are talking about how they grew up, and they're talking about having a village and working together in their community.
How they got the whooping by every person in the neighborhood.
There were parents who could be in the schools and who could be going on field trips, knowing that there were plenty of single mothers or mothers who couldn't stay home. So moms like mine were looking out for all the kids at Bryn Mawr Elementary School. My dad's city job paid for everything we did.
Yes.
And that's not true today.
Couldn't happen.
Couldn't happen.
Because of
Wage
the higher
stagnation.
costs of healthcare, the higher costs of if you want to send your kid to college. So you get financial pressures on the family. You then have all these institutions that used to be support systems shrinking. So more and more people start thinking in terms of
Me.
And I
Not
do things
us.
on my own. I pursue a career, I make money, and then if I'm successful enough, I can be self-sufficient and my family can be self-sufficient. Of course, the challenge is that kind of setup creates this huge separation between people, between economic levels. You always had separation, unfortunately, around race.
But now you've got separation within race.
Yeah, talk about that because you. One of the things that happens in your neighborhood is it's not just white folks who move out over time.
Right.
It's also black folks who have means.
Yeah.
They start saying, well, we want the same thing.
We want to go out to the suburbs.
Right.
We saw that.
All right.
I could listen to Obama talk
So
all day. I
boring.
can't lie though.
Boring?
I can listen
Oh
to him
my
talk all
God.
day.
Wow. So I don't agree that it's boring at all. I think it's a conversation that we need to have.
It's a
So
great conversation, but it is so boring. The pace of it, the monotone voices. They are incredible people, and they did talk about immaculate things in perspective, but it was so boring to me, bro.
I just think maybe I don't know.
You
I
think
enjoy.
I got ADHD.
I think that your attention
Yes.
span may be a little low.
Yes.
Nigga, I
So
sit here with you.
but-
I make beats for hours at a time, bro.
I don't see how we
looking-
can listen to that and say it was boring. I think it was
Just the
and
energy was just boring.
It was kind of low. The
I,
energy
I,
was
I
So,
think it's
D-Lo,
I think it's an informational.
Did you listen to Barack and Michelle? Because he was bored.
I think it's I think it was an informational podcast.
One more
So
question.
Right.
I
One more
think
question. Yo, how'd you feel about it?
what you just heard.
Were you bored?
Oh my god.
okay. So are we bored in talking about why we have a divide between black men and black
Of
women?
course not.
So I think that's kind of what they were talking
Yeah, but
about,
did
right?
You see how we did it?
We're not an informational podcast.
But we still get our information.
We give a lot of information away.
This is an entertainment podcast.
We package it differently.
Thank you, Steph.
And we're not former presidents. And
It don't mean nothing to me.
It's still good conversation.
It's great
though.
conversation. We
okay, so
still
let's
boring
get to
as
the
hell.
conversation.
Okay. let's
Instead of
talk
talking about
conversation.
Michelle Obama's podcast being boring and getting us canceled.
Right. That part.
Golly.
He always trying to
Over
get
here, we
canceled.
over here dedicating an episode
can I
to
get
black
a bell?
women, and you
Ding,
calling
ding,
Michelle
ding, ding.
Obama's podcast
Boring.
boring.
We just get it up. That's just opinions.
That's fine. All right. Oh, and then let me give the disclaimer. Everybody's opinion is their own. It is not the opinion of the Reverb
Cancel me.
Experiment.
Right.
Cancel
Right.
me.
Not
I ain't
right.
even-
Wait,
No,
I'm not
seriously.
famous
gotta go
enough to
prove
be
that.
canceled.
For real.
If I get canceled, I'm famous. So
Oh my gosh.
That part.
All
That
right.
part.
So thoughts
Replaced.
about the podcast, thought about what they were talking about, and does it have
Me
merit?
instead of you.
It definitely does. And I definitely feel like I'm hoping, like BJ said, I'm hoping that we see another more candid side, not the, first lady side. You know what I mean? Like really get into the real nitty gritty of the conversation. Kind of like how we do here. Like really getting to the root and having them sister girl conversations and not just the
Sponsored mainstream.
Right, you know what I
let's
mean?
make sure everybody is happy with what we're saying.
saying right. I'm hoping that we could see, because I feel like them in the position that they are in, if we can see that and we could get that, I feel like that'll change a lot on a grander scale.
I also feel like it's one of those that's like, we record this hella long ago. We put them all together and just like, all right, now we're just gonna start releasing them by week.
Well, she has a busy schedule, so that could be possible.
Right.
That could be possible. Yeah.
So-
she did, because at the end of it, she showed a little preview of her and her brother having a
Okay,
conversation.
so they're all pre-recorded.
So you didn't listen to the whole podcast?
So it's not going to be.
I did listen to the whole podcast.
I listened to
If
it.
there
too.
was trailers and stuff afterwards, no, I listened to the meat of the podcast.
So there's
Thank you, sir.
there's not going to be any actual like current event
Current,
stuff.
right.
So
To be able to speak on current topics, kind of like how we
Right.
do. But hopefully,
It's still informational.
I feel like I learned a lot about. I feel like I learned about the differences in time of how they grew up, where there was the village, and I never thought about I guess I have talking to you guys, but how they said that, how Barack said they had means, and what he meant by means was means of getting out. Right, they made enough money to leave the hood or to leave the areas in which they grew up and go into the suburbs
Through education.
through education or
Right.
through finances, right? And so, and then if you think about it, if we grow up and we get education and we come back to where we're going from, we pass that on, right? But when somebody makes it and they get a little bag, they move out, then everybody's still at the same place. You know what I mean? You're not bringing that back to the community. You don't have that.
Not
you don't
that
have that
knowledge.
same village.
And I think that's what she was talking about the the want or the need to feel like they want to move to the suburbs. As soon as they start getting some type of success, that was the epitome of moving, to getting the white picket fence, getting the station wagon, getting the things like that.
Y'all live in the suburbs?
I do.
I don't.
But I think
I don't either.
You said y'all. That's all I was like.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I wasn't included in that.
I think the interesting part of that conversation was just how much the times have changed and how the times back then created a space for community. So we were talking about just a minute ago that how we don't have any safe spaces, right? Mm-hmm. And that she was talking about how her dad, instead of putting money into a mortgage, that they stayed with their aunt. And they stayed on the second floor because he knew that money would then go into education and will be able to fund everything that they need. Mm-hmm. And with that, obviously, you have a more close, tight-knit community because you have mothers, mm-hmm. aunts, cousins, neighbors, all working together to raise the family. And I think we've gotten to a place where we have been so individualized because of capitalism that we get money and then we're like, I'm going to go get it on my own. I'm going to go have my own house because I never got to have my own room. Or I'm going to buy the best car that I can get instead of looking at it from a standpoint of a community, because we look at it bad. And I think that we talked about this, I think it's episode 1 or 2, we talked about as soon as we turn 18, we want to move out on our own. Mm-hmm. Or as soon as we turn 18, our parents say, oh, now you got to go. Instead of us saying working together as a community to have the greater good. So, and I think in that conversation comes in, it also creates the divide between the black man and the black woman, because before a black man could go to job or he can go to work and make enough money to provide for the entire family. Now you're in a situation where in most households, both people have to work. So then you have to then have somebody else watch your children, where that takes away from family. Or if you are on welfare, that the father can't even stay in the home, so that separates family there. And there's a lot of separation of family that goes on because of the capitalistic society that we're in. So when we're saying that, hey, we need to create community, create your village, come together, create safe spaces, the society that we live in does not give us the avenue to be able to do that because everybody is worried about self, me. I need to get it. And then the whole trick of it is that we're taught, oh, once you make enough, then you can be self-sufficient. But in reality is, once you make enough, you separated yourself so far from everybody else that you are isolated. And you can't really help nobody else out because you are so concerned with helping yourself out. So now then you get taught, oh, I got to protect what I have. And then it's like, oh, don't go back there because they're going to, try to take advantage of you. Or don't help our family because then they're going to take advantage of you. So we're taught not to be in community, but then the solution that we just had was create more safe spaces and rely more on the community. That's why I thought that conversation was so important, because that's basically what they were saying, is that the reason why they're so successful is because they didn't focus on individualism, they focused on the community.
Yeah, Barack talked about his friends that he's had since Harvard, right?
Like college, yeah.
Yeah, so that they still kept in touch and whenever they needed something, and how they slept in each other's houses, right? And his grandparents fed his friends, and I mean, it is. I grew up. I guess I grew up like that. Where anybody could just beat your ass if you was acting up, and then you get home, and then there's another belt waiting for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's real.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and everybody was able to hold you accountable, and we all raised you as a village. But today, it's totally different.
You say something to somebody, kid?
It's totally different. Like if you bring up group economics or living together or coming together and then paying off a mortgage, black people look at you like you crazy, right? Yep. Because they're like, nah, I want to live by myself. I'm on my own space. I want to be individual. And I think we would rather suffer on our own than succeed as a group. And
I mean, when we moved back with my mom, there's so many people that was like, oh, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, yo, my own mama? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that bad. Like, I understand as an adult, but at the end of the day, I'm like, it allowed us to be able to do so much. You know what I mean? But people really just look down on, and I don't know. It's crazy to me. When I had that conversation with people, and people like, what?
Right.
How y'all doing that? I could never.
I was in a rush to get up out of there, man. I moved out as soon as I turned 18.
Yeah.
How about you, Photo B?
I was actually good. My dad didn't really trip too much as long as I was doing what it is I needed to do. I was as long as I was going to school. I really didn't have to work.
He moved out at 35.
At 24. Well, I moved out the first time like at 21 and then moved back.
Had to move back.
I think
Yeah.
everybody goes through that.
I definitely had to move back.
I only moved back because the people I was living with just fucked shit up. It
Yeah,
was just like it's bad.
I moved back because of recession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy because some people don't have that. They don't have somewhere that they could go back to when, they fall on hard times or they, looking to, get that step up. Some people don't have that. So, I mean, that's a blessing in itself to have a place to go back to and say, I need help.
Right. And I just think with this pandemic, I think it should encourage us to want to work together on a better basis and practice group economics, because if we sit here and say that we have an issue with creating generational wealth, with setting up our children, then obviously to me the easier route would not be to work harder. It would be to work smarter, which would be working with your community. It's just, just like she said, unfortunately, most people, the goal is to live like the Brady Bunch and live in a family with the fence, with the stairs, and move out of your community, and then you become disconnected, and then you're in a group of people that don't look like you, don't have the same values. You're not able to actually have a connection with, and it's like, just imagine like how much money do we spend on mortgages or rent, and it's like if you were able to take that, and that's what I think it was that's what Michelle said, that her dad sacrificed the mortgage for her education. And now look where she's at. And I think a lot of times, again, we are so individualistic that we think us, and then we're not thinking down the line, like, are we setting up our children to be able to get to the affording? So everybody's like, oh, I want a wife like Michelle Obama. But the woman that you're looking at, does she have a father like Michelle Obama's father that was able to sacrifice to be able to get her to where she needed to get to?
Come on, bro.
I've been saying that. Like, you can't want somebody and not know what they had, how they grew up, and all, and then compare somebody else to that person.
That's what, man. When you date somebody, you are dating their whole family.
Their
You're
whole past.
You're dating their past. You're dating the dude that she was with before, because he's already made her have a new set of rules, or him with the girl before. You know what I'm saying? You have to take into account, like you said, if you want somebody like that, they have to come from a certain structure. Right. I find that women that come from a two-parent household and the dad was super involved, their mentality is a lot different towards men, right? And I find that men that grow up a two-parent home, their mentality towards women is a lot different, right? It's not so much of the survive, I'm against you, Right. It's more of a, how do we make this work together? Because they come from a situation where they've seen
they work together.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and she talks about how much he instilled working with community and looking after everybody and not succeeding on your own, but ensuring that everybody succeeds with you. And I think, that needs to be more of the conversation, especially between black men and black women. So,
yeah.
All right. Well,
it's about the time I started falling asleep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, maybe you need to head back and go watch it.
Right.
So
you missed out on some stuff.
All right, so we're going to get to your trash AF section, man. There better not be no black women on that list.
There's a black man.
Oh, I think I already know who it is.
All right.
Does his last name rhyme with Bruise?
That's what he needs to be, bruised.
Terrible.
Man.
So for today's trash as fuck, we'll let you call Terry Crews back to the table.
Oh. Damn, son.
He gonna have a permanent
Repeat
seat.
right? He about to be the enemy of the show instead of a friend of a show.
He's the infamous self, bro.
Right.
Man, look, coon is not a term of endearment, sir.
Right. Ever.
Conquer our own negatives.
Which is you.
Right. Like, we gonna reclaim the word coon.
Sir.
No. We're not. We're not doing that.
I'm not about to start calling my boy, what's up, coon?
No.
Nah.
What's up, coon?
No, bruh.
Terry, I think what's going on with Terry Crews is he's really having a problem with his
Identity.
blackness.
identity.
He really is.
He needs to go talk to Beyonce.
He does.
Come on.
If Beyonce would have put him in the Black Is King video, we would have a totally different Terry Crews today. But he's really having a hard time with accepting that, yo, you can be black and be married to a white woman.
Yeah.
You can.
You can.
There's a lot of people who do it. But black women and black community and black Twitter are going to let you have it every time you say something against black people.
Yeah.
Facts.
It is what it is.
Facts.
No one's mad at you for falling in love and marrying the person of your dreams. But, my guy,
Remember who you are.
you don't get to have opinions on black relationships or black community or you. We're not next to coon, bro. Conquer our own negatives. This is what happens when you feed people. This is what happens when you give people attention, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's positive or it's negative. It's attention. So as long as his name comes up, he's happy with that.
Yes.
Now he's gonna go on another fucking explanation campaign, an explanation tour on why the fuck he keeps saying coon ass shit.
Yes.
Yep.
Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus ass Terry Crews, you are trash as fuck.
Well, it's not Uncle Tom.
Oh, he's definitely Uncle Tom.
No.
He hates black people.
No, it wasn't Uncle Tom.
What is it?
Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle Tom was actually he protected black women. It was golly, what was the other character's name?
Uncle Ruckus, bro. Uncle Ruckus hates black people.
From where?
No, from that movie. Golly,
Which movie?
I'm gonna get killed for that. All right, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
He'll tell you on the next episode.
Yeah, I'll get it on the next episode. It was golly, man. All right, anyway.
Hey, bro, we just want Terry Crews.
Out of there.
Do we cancel him at this point? Because I feel like he was canceled, but he keeps coming back. So, is he canceled?
I feel like it's not a unanimous decision to cancel
I
this yet.
feel like he needs to be around some black men, some black women who need to have some conversations
There
and
we
help him
go.
identify with himself.
Bring him back into
Because
the
you
fold.
can't keep going home talking to your white wife about black situations and taking ideas from her. Right. She doesn't see things the way that we. They wrote that fucking acronym together. I know they did. Honey. Honey, C could stand
got
for
it.
conquer. And N is negative. We just need to figure out the two O's.
I can't.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. So we appreciate everybody listening. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast from. Buzzsprout. Oh yeah, shout out to Buzzsprout, man.
Hey, they be doing us justice.
Shout out to everybody.
Yes.
Shout out to
Everybody who loves
everybody.
us.
We appreciate
Those checks
y'all.
coming in.
Give us some money.
Hey, and we do want to make sure that we do tell everybody that all this does cost money. We're doing it for the love of the culture. So if you want to support us and help us grow, the best way you can do that is follow and share, and like and share your friends, and share.
Also, I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe today to see how much you really love it.
Right. I thought we were like, hey, set up a donations. You know what I'm saying? A little donation
Cash
panel.
App.
You know what I'm saying?
All
Our PayPal, Cash App,
Yeah.
Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay, all that.
XRP.
All right. So
XRP.
we'll be back in 2 weeks. We want to shout out all black women across the globe. No matter where you at, we are, like I said, standing in solidarity and demanding for Breonna Taylor's killers to come to justice, arrested and convicted.
They opened the
We're not
case.
just happy with just the arrest. We want a conviction. So
We going to get it.
oh yeah, we definitely gonna get
We're
it.
going to
So
burn something down.
yes, again.
Again.
Keep playing with us. We gonna burn down the whole nation. All right. So peace, love, and blessings to everybody. Everybody stay up, and again, shout out to black women across the globe.
We out.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Let's go. If you just let's go. Let's go. Let's go. If you just let go.